7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing? For some reason, Stream Deck isn't working for me. Hang on. Maybe I need to just open up the app. There's probably an update or something. Let's try and do that. Anyway, happy Monday. It should be. Oh, there it is. Excellent. Let's try this. Boop, boop. There we go. Beers and party. Thank you so much, Deacon Sinister. Enjoy. Deacon, that is 345 gift subs. That is insane. Anyway, this button. And then that one. And then I think that one. Yes. 07. And welcome. Happy Monday to you all. It is the week, or it should be the week of 4.9, all being well. Let me just grab my coffee. It should be Wednesday, I think. Unless it's at the end of the week, end of the month, which I don't think so. There we go. Oh, right. Sandman, thank you for your resubscription, by the way, mate. That was an hour ago. I missed that one. More beers and party for you as well. Let's see who's here. So, Sandman, Spike, Recap, Official, Gantz, good morning, L7. And then over on Twitch, we have Deacon, Sandman, Bear, City, Jones, Rulin, Peanut, Flood, Sinister, Azarinth, Interitus, Spunky Chicken, Spartacus. And I think that's everyone. 07. You were testing, scanning, and mining for mining on the PTU, and for once I'm actually pretty excited to get out and hunting for high-quality gems again. Yeah, so we can start with that, I suppose. 4.9 has quite a lot of changes in. Not all ones that are presented in things like Inside Star Citizen or whatever, but just, you know, background stuff. And one of the bigger changes, or quality of life improvements, or I guess updates, is to scanning. So now you can scan for minables or harvestables at a range of, I think, 20 kilometers. They will pop up. And then you can, and it'll tell you what they are. So you know whether there's something you want to go for or not. And then I guess you can then scan them at range, can you, Flood? And it will tell you whether it's worth approaching to go and mine it versus just... Oh, you just ping now. So you ping, and then the information is instant on the big clusters of rocks without needing to individually scan them. Yeah, that's a much quicker way. So basically it saves a lot of travel time of having to go from one place, you know, from one rock to the next rock to the next rock, which, you know, we're only talking minutes really, but that's for each rock. And when you're out mining, that's a lot of time. If you spend an hour, that could be a good 15-20 minutes just in travel time to try and scan a rock. So, a huge improvement there. Facemaker, great. How you doing? And that's for everything. All harvestables, is it? Or ships as well. We know it works for ships anyway, doesn't it? Duke Star, welcome. Or Dukester, should I say. Whose birthday is it? Is it Binks's? It's not mine. So you can now just swing by with your mining head out, and it has a deep scan info all ready for you as long as you've pinged. What we will do today, Sisyphus, 07. I wasn't planning on doing much playing. I'm kind of over 4.8.3 for the time being. Been playing a bit of 4.9. But there's nothing really too new to check out aside from the scanning changes in 4.9 versus when we last played it the other day. Shenanigans, 07. So I was just going to chill out and chat, talk about 4.9, talk about the scanning changes. We will definitely jump in later on and just test that out. I'll also go through the monthly report, which is kind of old right now, but there's some good stuff in it. You found $900 vine on the PTU. So run me through this then, Flood. You ping, and it tells you that there's some dollar vine over there. and then you whip out your mining laser and face that dollar vine, and does it tell you then immediately what the quality is, or do you need to focus your scanner and scan, or do you just need it on a wide scan and scan? No, I don't. It's not just for mining ships, is it? It should be for all ships, but I think mining ships have a better ability of seeing stuff. Or am I wrong there? Do tell me, guys. Martin, how you doing? You can't get into 4.9. Why not? You're on Magda 3 days ago and didn't find anything. Crazy. Yo, Gantz, how you doing? It feels like making a stealth ship for mining is useless. If you find something good, people would just find you next to the rock. Well, I guess so. I mean, it's a cool idea to sort of turn your prospector into a stealth prospector, but I don't think it's going to be the most effective because you're going to be sticking out like a sore thumb anyway. You know, you're an industrial ship firing a giant laser. That's why I always suggest don't go... Like, you might go down to somewhere like a Shuban outpost on a moon and then go scanning for minables. Travel away from locations where others will be. Get away from the footfall and trade lanes, because yes, you will bump into other people. There are plenty of places out in the middle of nowhere where you can find some decent stuff where you shouldn't be bumping into anyone at all. When you downloaded it, it said it couldn't verify files. Is an error code popping up at all? So you get the rock names much further out. So you find something you want, say Dollarvine. When you now point at the rock, it instantly has the info on your readout rather than scanning each rock. So by info, you mean literally the quality level. Like as if you were ready to... Right, yeah. So the only time spent is really mousing over the rock to check quality, and then, yeah, obviously traveling to the location, which could be 20 kilometers away, to actually do the mining. That's pretty cool. Coffee, how you doing? Yes, it just makes, as you say, it cuts down the entire time with mining. So a lot of it will just be wasted time traveling from rock to rock, trying to find what you wanted. Now it will be, you stay where you are, and you rotate and see what you can find. Summer Yeti, how you doing? Doyle, welcome. I think they should make it so it depends on the type of... It will do eventually. If it doesn't right now, it will do eventually. From what I understand, mining radars and scanners are somewhat slightly better at detecting resources than others, but the differences aren't really that significant. Eventually, all ship radars and scanners will be, you know, tailored for their role. Be that industrial, combat, or exploration. Right now, I don't know if that is the case. It's not. Well, it's definitely not the case. It's not like there's not a great difference between them. But this is something we will see. Already, we are starting to see bits and bats of the scanners and whatnot get updated. You know, little bits coming in here and there with more information and more info revealed, basically. The scanning and we're talking both FPS and ship here. Those systems have been in the works for a long while. You know, the updated versions of them. And, as I say, slowly but surely, they're starting to roll out little bits here and there, but we haven't had the full-on change-up yet. And now scanners are actually physical entities, physical components. We will start to see more of those get more, I suppose, bespoke behaviours to suit the role that they're intended for. So a 19k error. What's the fix, guys, for a 19k error? Martin is not able to get in. He keeps getting it verified. Just George, how you doing? And Jeff, thank you so much for the 60 months. Is that 5 years? Wow, that's crazy. Zabe, welcome. Planetside, you'd get rock names a little over 5k. Okay. So not at 20k. That's more for asteroids where maybe there is less signatures to get in the way, perhaps. As I say, we'll jump in and we'll test it later on. For now, we'll just chill out. We'll chat about 4.9. Obviously, anything Star Citizen related, of course. And I'll briefly run through the monthly report, because we haven't yet. I was going away the other day to that wedding, right as the monthly report dropped. I've only just gotten it out. Mike was saying it was different, as in, like, planet-side versus asteroid mining. I guess it does make sense to a degree, because out in space, in an asteroid field, there is less background noise. Whereas on a planet, you've got, you know, the planet itself causing a bit of a, you know, asteroids should cause a bit of a cross-section blur. Fuck, how you doing? Helix used to be best. Yeah, they've kind of changed a little bit. But Helix, I think, is still generally the better mining. It's got the most power. I'm not usually a big fan of the Helix, just because of the optimal window decreasing a lot, and then you have to use something else to increase that. I kind of... It really depends on what you're going for. Because, yeah, some things can be impossible, but require other bits. So, I know the Prospector uses size 1, but does size 2 say in the mole make the power of the head better? Yeah, oh yeah. So, a size 2, Helix 2, for example, is more powerful than a Helix 1, which means you can essentially crack a rock with greater mass. Certain rocks are just out of the realm of possibility with a size 1 mining laser. So you would need something like a size 2. And, you know, I'm sure as time goes on, we will see other variations to sizes of lasers and so forth as well. Just had a 5700 error. Had to close the launcher a few times and keep verifying. What the hell's that all about? Yo, Yus, how you doing? When 5.0 releases, I don't think you're going to be installing it ever again then. I don't know what Board's video was about. I did notice him say something about 5.0, but from my understanding, it's going to go with the 4-point number sequencing, and then 1.0. Yeah, I know Board, there was something on a thumbnail that said something about 5.0, but we're not going to see a 5.0. It's 4.9, 4.10, 11, 12, 13, 14, blah, 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 and then 1.0. And we will be playing 1.0 on the PTU first, and then on the live servers before they push it to, you know, releasable version. Silent Blob, Raz, Joshua, Cyborg, Marcon, Celestial Frog, welcome. Good afternoon, good evening. You also heard Mind or in cargo can disappear in transition to 4.9. So I've heard, I think, Sweetheart, it might have been Sweetheart, our mining divisional, or our industrial lead. He has found that in 4.9, that hasn't happened. That's not to say that that issue is fixed. He's just saying that it hasn't happened to him, so he feels like it might be fixed. Whereas in 4.8, yeah, mined goods can just go poof, much like cargo can in some stages as well. Haven't played for a while. Are there still major bugs? Yes. So for 4.8.3, I would just avoid it for now, especially if you haven't been playing. Don't come back for that. I would say Wednesday, we should be seeing 4.9 go live. That brings a ton of fixes. Not everything is fixed, but a good number of things are. I don't see anything about freight elevators being fixed. I don't know about big cargo issues. But there are more fixes coming in with 4.9. We will see more throughout, you know, up until it goes live and then beyond. There may be hot fixes. There may be a 0.1 patch, 0.2 patch. I don't know, because now we're seeing 4.10 at the end of August rather than, you know, 4.10 being a whole separate patch at the end of September. So it's a bit up in the air as to what we'll see. But every patch we see will get a lot of bug fixes. And I suspect what we will see post 4.9's release is more like other patches, not even necessarily 0.1 patches as such, maybe, but just bringing in more fixes. It may go to beta, but there's no guarantee that 5.0 is going to be called, you know, is going to be the beta. 1.0 is I guess still somewhat, I don't know. I really don't know. We will see. They could do anything, to be fair. It's their choice. And I guess the only time we would get to anything that is beta would be when dynamic meshing is here and all the back-end core infrastructure is done, which we will get to that point. But yeah, they've never mentioned going to beta. They've never mentioned a 5-point numbering system. For all we know, if it does go to what they would class as beta or what the gaming world would class as beta, it could still remain in the 4-point sequence. We don't know. You did some delivery and haulage and mercenary work without the workarounds. Was that on 4.8, George? Or is that 4.9? Yo, lads, good morning. 5.0 would be Alpha 5.0. Well, I mean, thing is, from my understanding, it'll be Alpha, 4-point series, numbering series, and then it'll get to 1.0, which, when we get 1.0, that, I mean, they would probably, I don't know if they'll call it Alpha 1.0, if they'll call it Beta 1.0, or just Star Citizen 1.0, but that 1.0 will still be testing. It won't be like, you know, here's 1.0, let's just launch it as the viable, you know, releasable product. It'll enter PTU for EVA-CAT-T, it'll then go through the waves of PTU, it'll then go into, it may remain in PTU, or it might go to, you know, live as we're playing now, and remain in that while they then optimize, bug fix, and get it into a state that is ready for a official release. It'll still be classed as early access, because it's not a finished product, but it's, whether they choose the you know, the naming of alpha or beta, I don't know. There are some updates to persistence happening in this patch. Oh, yes, there is, isn't there? What? So we could see some improvements on that front, but until we see it persisting across more than one patch cycle, it's safer to expect poofing. Yeah, we're every patch, we're waiting to see if crafted items persist from patch to patch with their stats. Because what happens right now is that when you craft an item with all the good, you know, upgraded stats, when it goes into the next patch, you keep the item, but the stats are back to default. So it kind of doesn't really encourage much use or reason to craft aside from just using it for that one patch, which the amount of effort and time it goes into gathering all those resources to craft the item, it's not something you know people will really want to do. So hopefully for 4.9, all these items we've crafted in 4.8.3 or whatever carries over, but yeah, I'm skeptical of that. Yeah, I guess so, Sandman. I don't know. If CIG decides to go with Star Citizen Beta 1.0, the complaint would be they haven't even finished it. Well, there's always, it doesn't matter what state or, you know, stage Star Citizen is at, there will always be complaints. Yes, 1.0 is that sort of line in the sand, absolutely. And we will continue as Apox says there. You know that what you see on the roadmap where it says Star Citizen 1.0 is everything they want for 1.0. That's not all coming in as 1.0 then suddenly emerges. It's going to be that'll come in for 4.10, that'll come in for 4.11, 4.12, 4.10 is a bad example, and so on. You think they'll shift to beta? I mean, it would definitely give a good sort of stamp to it, where it's, you know, the foundation is there. It is now fixing quality, fixing and optimizing. Keel Block, how you doing? Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't even bother right now, unless you are just wanting to use it for the patch today. Well, definitely don't do it now, just in case. But yeah, if anyone has crafted anything, be that a weapon or a component, do let me know when 4.9 drops to live, whether those stats come over. This race, our org racing league, twice I've won the race and got and earned basically a JS whatever it is 300 I think, but there's no point in crafting it and giving it to me because it'll go poof the next patch, which is kind of useless. Damage, how you doing? Welcome. When you craft with low quality, yes, it'll have penalties. Yeah, Rulin. If you use anything under 500 quality, the stats will go down. You can still craft stuff, but it's probably quicker to just go and grab it from somewhere. You was originally in the camp where I thought they would do beta, but I think nowadays CIG want to get rid of alpha as soon as they can. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with now the connotation of, the endless alpha. Hang on. Very weird today. There was about 6 flies, we've got this like netting up on the staircase to stop, Summer from falling through. Not that she will now, she's much bigger than she was, but they were all just landed on it, and I sort of wafted at them and they didn't move. Like six flies, or 6 or 7 flies just landed next. So I just vacuumed them all up. They didn't move at all. Docile flies, I don't know what that was about. Anyway. On whichever is the... Mish, how you doing? 07. Andrew, welcome. It certainly could be. 1.0 could act as, when it does come to the PTU, when it does come to testing, it could act as I mean, I assume it would essentially be... In fact, 1.0 might not even be what is classed as beta. Way before 1.0 comes along, I think they would want to have all of the core tech functioning and tested. So that they can essentially move out of alpha before 1.0 comes along. 1.0 is just all of those features that they want to then go as a releasable product. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get to a sort of a traditional beta style or sense of game development before we even get all those features in. What do I think about the economy wipe that we had? Oh, I was very happy for that, to be fair. I know a lot of people were very much like, I've spent all this time earning and whatnot. I didn't want it, but for me, the game was such a mess. The economy was such a mess. There was money all over the place. I had all sorts of stuff on my account that I shouldn't have, and to me, it invigorated me to play more. Really gave me a lot of inspiration to play more, so I was really happy for it. And I feel like it desperately needed it as well. So weirdly, George, a while back, not necessarily anymore, but a while back, it was better to just crank your graphics up to the higher setting within reason, because it was further optimized at those higher settings. But that's not necessarily the case these days. It might be 1 or 2 settings that you've got that if you drop it, it performs worse. But yeah, that used to be the case, but not so much now. Do we only have 1 ship coming in 4.9? As it stands right now, we don't have any ships coming in 4.9, but it looks like the new Shiv is coming. That's not even confirmed, from what I understand. They've just been teasing it. I'm expecting it for 4.9 though. But yeah, at the moment, nothing is confirmed there. You used to give out the executive sniper rifle gold and things like that for winning parts of your boxing matches. One time people won hamburgers. There you go. There's a whammers. Yeah, the flies are plotting. They're definitely plotting. Looking forward to being able to give in-game built ships. Talking of ships, I've got a video coming. Let me just try. I won't try and upload it. The video coming out today that I was hoping to get out before I go live. There is a mission in 4.9, one of Reko's repeatable missions, where I'm sure most of you have heard of it, where the Moraine have attacked this caterpillar, and you have to go and take out the Moraine gang inside this caterpillar, and then repair the power plant, and job done. When you arrive there is a Cutlass Black that I assume is intended to represent the ship that the Moraine gang arrived on, got on board, basically they're the ship that they use. And it's full of, it's got like usually about 3 components in, some loot boxes with some decent armor and other bits, and a load of, like, in the cargo bay, weapon racks full with very cool weapons like grenade launchers, sniper rifles, other weapons as well. And when I first tested it on the PTU, which must have been Eva Catty, the ship wouldn't power on. I couldn't even get it started. So I kind of tried it again recently when I was doing some B-roll gathering. And it did power on. And so it got me thinking that now that we can store ships that we don't own, NPC ships, players can loan ships out to other people. There are a lot of caveats with that, but it's doable. You can take that ship, you can land it in a hangar, you can store it in your hangar and call it back up when you want to use it again. The only downside is you can't land on a pad and rearm, refuel, and repair, and you can't bedlog because it's not owned by you. They're the two main ones that I can think of. It made me realize that ship in particular is a great ship for, like, for example, you might just be starting out in the game and you only have an Aurora or starter package. You can literally take that mission on Innix, fly to it, ditch your ship behind, it's fine, you can claim it on insurance, grab that ship, fly it back to your, and basically have a Cutlass without even doing the mission. You just get to keep the Cutlass for as long as you can keep it going. You can refuel using the refueling beacon. I did it twice. The first time it worked flawlessly, no problems at all. The second time, as I was just about to dock with the Starfarer, it disappeared and left me somewhat stranded. I alt F4'd because I couldn't move. Then I could move, but I had the UI still there. But I bet if I flew back and landed, it would have been fine, logged. When I was doing the mission, or the video, I went back to Levski and I went to space stations, and the hangar door wouldn't open for me. So I was like, this must be a bug. It's a ship that's like presented to you almost with all these changes, full of goodies. You should be able to land. And thankfully, I tried it again. Usually I'd be like, you know what, forget it. But I tried it again and it worked. I could get in. I could land. I could take the components out of the ship. I had a military B shield in the ship. The other two were military Cs, which I think is generally the likeliest you're going to find. And I lowered it. I equipped the shield on it. It was there. I could pull it back up again. So yeah, it's kind of like you get a free ship, a decent ship. The downside is those weapon racks cannot be used. You can take the weapons off, but you can't put them on. So I've made a bit of a plea in the video to CIG to make that work, because otherwise they're just then in the way. And, as much as the Cutlass Black isn't a big ship, I think it's like, 42 SEU. With those in them, with those weapon things in there, they take up more space. So it would be nice to be able to use it. So yeah, I was quite impressed with that. It's essentially a free ship, provided you can keep it running. You can get it repaired by, repairing it yourself with our SRT canisters. You can't repair the armor though, right? That's one thing you can't do right now unless you use a landing pad. You can get it refueled, players or NPCs, provided it works. If you run out of ammunition for your weapon, swap it out for a different weapon, or just go full lasers. Mandarin, welcome. Outpost, welcome. So you loan a ship by you just give it to someone. Basically you just allow them to take it and land it in their ship. Provided you don't claim it or do anything at all to it, they can keep using it. But as the owner, you're the only one who can land and repair it. Search for what? Sorry, Zay. You're interested in the ships we get from Reco Rep. Yeah. Rep 3, I mean, this is a Reco mission where you essentially get a ship, but it's not an account-bound, it's not a hangar-bound ship. When it's gone, it's gone. Whereas Reco, it looks like, maybe for 4.9, maybe for a story missions in 4.10, at ranks 3, 4, and 5, it looks like you get a reward of a ship that you can keep reusing and keep claiming on insurance. It's like your owned ship. 50 billion, Nick. Blimey. How you doing, by the way? You kind of want to trade the starter ship you got up for something better, figuring I just try and earn it in-game before. Yeah, absolutely, George. That's the best way to do it. It's, you can CCU with real money, so, take the value of your current ship, your starter ship, pay the difference and get something better if you want to skip that every time there is a wipe, even though wipes are very rare now. So it's not really necessary. You have time to earn in-game and buy in-game. And if we get ships as rewards going forwards from 4.9, 4.10, even better. Do you know if the Clipper will get the crafting activated in 4.9? Not that I can see. I don't think it's coming in 4.9. I don't know when it's coming, but I'm hoping it's sooner than later, especially if they're working on things like the Auxilia. That would be cool. Yep. You got the Mustang Alpha. Yeah, the Avenger is definitely better. It's definitely a good upgrade. Like I say, 4.9, fly out, do this mission, grab that cutlass, and use that for a bit. Completely free. And you get all the armor. Like, you can literally show up to this mission with nothing other than an undersuit and a helmet. You get practically a full suit of armor, a lot of it heavy, and a backpack, tons of weapons, components if you want them, and meds and food and stuff, without even having to do anything. Oh, so it's basically the mission. So when in 4.9, if you're in Nyx, you have to be in Nyx for this, because this is a Nyx-specific mission from Reco. You open your MobiGlass, go to missions, and then... Oh, I can't remember what it's under. But it's all three of Reco's missions. You've got a scan, a mine mission, and this rescue mission, or this assistance mission, where you've got to go and take out the Moraine. That will then give you the location of the Caterpillar and the Cutlass. They're side by side. When you arrive, the Cutlass is there. The first time I saw it, I shot the door open, the side door open. The second time I went to film it with my Aurora, I couldn't, because my size 1 weapons wouldn't do anything to the ship. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to fly back, get a different ship and shoot it open. And then I thought, let me just go try the button. And it opened. So you don't even need to shoot it open. You just go and press the button. No, it's not bricked. Not bricked at all. It's not an owned ship. So it doesn't go through the process of bricking, because no player... I mean, NPCs can't reclaim their ships on insurance. But it's not owned by a player, which, if it was, it would be bricked. It is a ship that you can store. You can't really leave it out and about, though. And you can't bedlog in it. So you use it, fly around in this Cutlass, use it for combat missions. I mean, if it blows up, then it's gone. If you take damage, you lose your armor on it, then you won't be able to get that back. You can still patch it up on the outside if you want to go through that, but you can't, land on a pad and fix it or rearm it or whatnot. But most of that you can do physically now, aside from the armor. So, yeah, you can essentially have a Cutlass Black for hauling missions, for all sorts of missions, and use it and keep using it, keep it alive, basically, without using the RRR feature. I mean, I haven't tried it with refueling on a bigger ship like an Idris. I don't even know if the Cutlass will fit on an Idris, but I assume it wouldn't work because you don't own the ship. So it's the same process, it's the same system, where I think ownership is needed. But yeah, that'll be coming out today, just kind of a demonstration mission video where it shows you how to do it, what the limitations of it and the caveats. Have CIG said whether or not the inability to RRR loaned ships is intentional? They haven't, but at the end of the day, it wouldn't make sense for them to make that a thing. It might be a temporary limitation for something that I can't think of, based on whatever reason. But I think it's more of just a sort of an artificial limitation that they wouldn't want. They want players to be able to loan ships to each other. And you've got your physical ownership and legal ownership. Legal ownership means you own the ship. Someone takes it from you. They have physical ownership, but they don't legally own it. And so they want to make sure that people can gift or loan or temporarily or whatever, or sell ships to each other as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if shortly, I don't know about 4.9, I doubt it for 4.9, but shortly we have the ability to triple RR ships or other people's ships on either landing pads or in ships like the Ironclad or the Idris. Because at the end of the day, it makes sense that we do that. A lot of the time when we do org stuff, to Gunther, how you doing? It fits, but it's tight. It probably won't work, but it's good to know. Thank you. At the end of the day, when we do our org stuff, we might have, like, one of us might have 3 ships to bring along that we load into the Ironclad. Someone else might bring another one like Snubcraft and whatnot, and they load them all in. And then we go out and people are jumping into different ships and using them. If they then can't bring that back to get repaired and you have to wait for the original owner to come and do it, it's annoying. It's silly. It's more of just a current limitation, I would think. The game would definitely benefit from a complex player-to-player contract system. Well, yeah, I mean, technically, that's what the beacon is supposed to be, the beacons. Or do you mean like a contract where you loan them a ship and they sign the contract and they're, with the understanding of whatever the contract says? They haven't mentioned anything about that, but in terms of like beacons between one another, trading between one another, that is absolutely stuff they're doing, the stuff that they want. That will probably be part of the social stuff and org stuff. Oh yeah, missions, absolutely, yeah. I don't know at what point we're going to be at where things like more granular mission contracts and beacons and whatnot. Because to me, beacons don't make sense. A beacon is like a hope bell, right? It's I'm in trouble. I need this. It should be more of a contract system between players, and that's what they will be bringing. They've mentioned this kind of thing a lot in the past, where it's no matter what the job, you can offer it and other players can see it. Maybe jobs boards would be a big part of this being a thing, where you could put up a job for, I want this item picking up from my hangar or my, the freight elevator here and delivering to Nix because I've moved and I don't want to have to come back and get it. And then the mission will go up on the jobs board. A player can then accept that mission and go and do that. And get paid if they fulfill that, right? That's absolutely stuff that they have spoken about and want. And I mean, looking at where we're at now, we are getting closer to that. The beacon system is something we've had very basically, in its very basic form for a long time, and it's just kind of broken and not really working. That's more for like, I need rescue, I need refueling, I need, transport. Really, the contracts is more of a social side of things that we need. That will come along, but yeah, I don't know when. Still need to remove components from owned ships in 4.9 or we lose them. I don't think we do anymore. I think through PTSD, people still do it. But has anyone still noticed that items that you have like physically upgraded in your ships going missing from, one patch to the next? I don't really do enough upgrading to notice. Although I have this time. But that's not really much of a problem anymore, is it? Or is it? Has someone found that it is? For a long time, it was the the go-to technique of there's a patch coming up, strip your ship of everything, put it back into storage, and that's your best chance. This is where all this work on the entitlement and back-end systems to track player items it's received a ton of work. That's why 4.8, I think it was, saw a lot of problems with things like inventory and player-owned stuff, because a lot of that back-end entitlement system was being changed big time. Yo, sweetheart, how you doing? How's the house coming along, mate? I mean, it's probably a huge job. Are you any further on with it? You couldn't get the enter seat prompt to fly either ship. What's that, sweetheart? Do you mean on the Caterpillar mission? The Caterpillar you can't fly. That you can't even get access to the command module. That's blocked off. The Cutlass, the first time I tried it in the PTU, yeah, I couldn't even get into the ship. He wouldn't allow me to. I couldn't get into the seat. But now you can. Now you can fly it. Now you can store it, and you can keep it for a while. Yeah, I don't know when arcade machines are coming in. It's so funny because there's so many. A lot of what people complain about, especially when it comes to like travel time, is just not there yet. And things like arcade machines are so low on the priority list, but in one way, they would certainly benefit the lack of the amount of boredom in travel time being increased. Being able to be like, right, while we're in Quantum, I'm going to go and try and get a high score on Hyper Vanguard Force or whatever. But again, the arcade machine itself is such a low priority thing. Will there be a faction war in Pyro, or is that part gone and the outpost will change? We'll never. No, there's. Welcome, Basco. There is definitely plans for that in the future. It's. I suppose it's more like the dynamics of the gangs and the AI and what they do and stories that are being told. You know, Pyro, that hasn't necessarily changed in terms of the lore of Pyro, where there is always a war waging between the gangs and fighting, and then obviously they introduced the Citizens for Prosperity, which added a lawful side to the mix. But that sort of stuff we will certainly see evolve. I would think post 1.0 more than before, unless they feel the need to revisit that and make that some sort of storyline going on before 1.0, which they might do. Imagine having an interdiction when playing an arcade game. You'd be like, put it down. It should be fine, because you should just be able to log straight out of the Hyper Vanguard Force and go running to your seat again. Magmick, how you doing? My hopes are high for getting the Endeavour soon. Nobody tell him. That's one of my favourite ships, is the Endeavour, but yeah, we are talking years, unfortunately. That's it. Keep puffing that opium. Send me some more. Speaking of arcade, the Comlink Hyper Vanguard Force is fully functional still. Just need the link. If you've got the link, I mean, let me try and find it, actually. It's such a cool little 8-bit game. This was for the release of
Vanguard Force.
Of the Vanguard. I can't remember how to play. Oh no!
Get ready.
Oh! Crap. That one too good. Oh, actually. Ah, my mouse! Oh, where's he come from? Cutlass. Whatever. I don't want to win anyway. But yeah, there's been a few games like that, haven't there? There was like an Exploration Karak one. That was literally just a quick 8-bit game that people are... It says who designed it. That will eventually be... If you walk around like space stations, you will see arcade machines called Hyper Vanguard Force. One day, we're going to get those to put in our ships. So while you're traveling around... This is why so many people, understandably right now, don't want long travel times in Quantum, because it's like, I'm bored. Eventually, you will be demanding longer travel times because you want to do stuff on board your ship while you're traveling. There will be shows to watch, there will be games to play, there will be Galactopedia posts to read, and audio books to listen to, and pool tables to play on, Simpods to play Arena Commander, and Theatres of War, or whatever there is by that point, because it's a working title. Not that we ever saw it. Well, we did, to be fair. But, fixing components, crafting items, managing your items, just all sorts of stuff, you know? Yo, outpost. But one day, it'll be in-game. And we'll be able to play it. Chessboards! Yes! Yes, I wish there was engineering to do Daylight. Like, here's engineering, 4.5. Excellent. You don't really have to do anything. Like, damn it. Wasn't there a game you could play with a QR code on a soda can, Dirty? I don't know. What? Nothing Star Citizen related, I'm assuming. Sure thing, Yeti. Have a good time, my friend. Well, at the moment, nobody really, Keel, because it's a bit like when it comes to the lore of Star Citizen, especially when the game is in the state that it's at now, people are very much do not care. I mean, I love the lore. I've always loved the lore. You know, Paul's readings, especially the Astro Paul, are like, it has a strong, true following, but not as much as they deserve, because people aren't really bothered about the lore when they can't even play the game, right? Eventually, tons of people will love, like, if you've ever played any game, especially like an Elder Scrolls or a Bethesda game, you might not, but I mean, do you ever read the lore? Do you ever read up on you know, the in-game information about the worlds, the locations, the people? I certainly do. I love lore in games because it builds this world building, right? And it's important, and especially for Star Citizen. So when the time comes, when the Galactopedia is in game, and we can click and read, you know, things about where you're traveling to, or the history of the Hadesians and so forth, and better yet, have it narrated to you in game. That would be cool. Again, it's not something that necessarily needs prioritizing yet, but I guess when the game is a bit more playable, maybe so. Yo, Guff, yes, give us Snake. Flappy Bird or something. Cyclo, how you doing? Think you had cap blocks on there, mate. There is no natural structure. Everything seems to happen at the same time compared to traditional MMOs, where stuff happens more linear. Oh, sorry. Just see lots of ships at OM markers making coffee and play. Well, hopefully they'll actually be out and about doing stuff. Shadow Strike, how you doing? Thank you so much for the 12 months. Doesn't party, please. A lusty Argonian maid, yeah. You didn't start paying attention to Elden Ring lore until you were 100 hours in. One of the things that have kept me going in Star Citizen has been its lore. It's so rich already, but so, you know, some of it has a lot of depth. Others are very surface level because they don't want to go too far into it while the game is changing. But for me, I love the lore. And everything starts with lore. You know, these missiles, there's lore behind the missiles, the manufacturers and so forth, the tractor beams, the ships, of course. Well, CIG have mentioned themselves that they want to have narrations. Without needing a third party to do it. You know, it's something that I think, was it Dave Haddock had mentioned that it would be cool to have the Galactopedia with a narration mode where it would just, I mean, this is where AI would come in handy a lot, where you could just have any Galactopedia post hit narrate and it'll talk you through it. You could literally be on your way somewhere in a long quantum jump listening to the lore of the Artemis and what happened to it. Oh, it's in Star Citizen, and it had a QR code. Anybody else remember that? It's like a lore missile, yeah. You upgraded your PC and set up over the weekend, went to a Ryzen 7 5800X3D. Star Citizen's gonna love that. An RX 9060 XT, and your monitor to 2K, sorry. I mean, that alone will look so much better, going from 1080p to 2K. That'll look beautiful. How exciting. I'm still waiting for... Next month, I'm expecting to pick up the new CPU. I don't want to leave it too long because I don't want parts to become older and, you know, obsolete. Not that they will, but I think with this motherboard, when I have to do a BIOS update on it for the CPU, because the motherboard's older than the CPU. I don't know. Yeah, I bet it does. What resolution? Not resolution. What size is your monitor? Actual. If we had an in-law AI character like Halo's Cortana, that would be super apt for narrating things like AI voice. Well, I guess... So there's certain things that, in a way, I'm kind of glad they didn't do. Droids are one of them, like Star Wars. As cool as it would have been for Star Citizen, it probably would have felt too Star Wars-y. And in all honesty, I would rather not have like this sort of AI person there, because it would be annoying with everyone having one. And I suppose with the whole AI, the lore behind the AI development. I mean, unless it was a little miniature New Babbage and Anna character that you could take with you in a hollow light sphere. Viper's Nest, welcome. Then we should also have a Star Citizen Hitchhiker's Guide to the PU. We certainly should. Lots of nods to Hitchhikers, in fact. Like the towel for $42 million. Oh, 2560 by 1440. Very nice. Yeah, it would probably be horrible using it and get it irritating, wouldn't it? Yeah, same mind there, Sandman. 75 hertz refresh. Hey, it is such a big step up. It'll be beautiful. A drove of droids. David, how you doing? Welcome. But no, I am looking forward to getting to the point where we can sort of, you know, sit there and listen to lore. But again, right now, for most people, for the majority of people, lore is not really that interesting to them. I think, though, the amount of lore that has been created over the years has certainly helped to increase Star Citizen's popularity, just because of how deep it is and how well it is at world building. Although a lot of it is getting retconned, especially now that they're building out the planets and whatnot. But yeah, there will be a time for lore to thrive, and for many others it is already and has been for a long while. But I think for the majority, it will be once the game is out, and that kind of stuff is interesting to, you know, when you're living in the verse and you're learning about the verse, rather than hopping in every now and again, or not even at all. My name is Biff. Should come to do lore videos for Star Citizen. Was he a big lore? Oh, well, we don't want to take it. Welcome, by the way, Jeff. We don't want to take it away from Paul, though. Paul is the man when it comes to lore videos. You have 2 of those towels. How'd you have 2 of them? It was funny when it, like, you could do the old CryEngine, click on it, and it would just go from clean to dirty. Get a droid for our ships. Yeah, I mean, that's essentially why they don't want droids, because they want players to do the work rather than, you know, an army of droids just sent out to go and mine for you while you sit there and wait for them to return. Shield, how you doing? Yes, I did have a nice weekend, thank you. What did I even do? Oh, I signed Summer up to a football class, which is exciting. So that's got nothing to do with the weekend, but I'm excited about that. Oh, you bought 2 of them, did you? I know we got one for like sub stuff, didn't we? I guess you bought a second. Why not? A 10-hour long Destiny lore video. Wow. Star Citizen's a prequel to Dune. No thinking machines allowed. How is Dune getting on these days, the game-wise? Is it still heavily played, or what? Takmeyer, thank you so much for sending me your Prime sub, my friend. Much appreciated. Beers and party, please. Oh, I haven't updated any of the subs yet. How you doing today? Astro, welcome. The term droid, or the word droid, droid is trademarked by, what, Disney? Oh, well, not Disney, but Disney now. Was it really? That's what I think of when I hear Biff. The best voice for Lord Tubers. And he's a really nice bloke. Maybe he will. I do, you know, you've got all these Eve players. What's the other one? Elite players. They come over. Destiny, if people are big in the world of Destiny, there's a similar vibe there with sci-fi and whatnot, so they may come over. Marty McFly. Or the third Dune film. Is that on its way? Nice. Do I want to board an Idris? I'm alright, thank you, though, Cyclone. But, no, so right now, I'm just going to run through briefly the monthly report. It's not going to be a super deep chat about it, because it's been out a while now, but we haven't discussed it ourselves. And there's probably a lot to talk about there. But then towards the end, we'll jump in and we will maybe check out the new scanning stuff. So, in September, it's got a console release. So it's only available on PC, is it? Plus single-player mode. Oh, okay. Yeah, Lucasfilm. And now, I guess, it's owned by Disney. Anyway, let me pull up the monthly report and we can see what it says. Because there are some decent things in that, as I say, we never got to run through, which is a shame. I always like chatting about it. In fact, let's just quickly go through what was recently said or what the recent patches are. Has there been one patch since my last stream? I believe there was. Yeah, so we tested it on Friday, and we went and I don't know what I'm looking over there. I thought that was the camera. And we went and checked out the baby Valakar, the juveniles, and they seem to have some updates. I haven't seen them enough to know exactly how much they have been updated, but there were updates in the most recent build. So more updates. It says updated the Valakar. Oh, this is just the Valakar. It doesn't necessarily. It's not all just about the juveniles, but updated the Valakar behaviors. Updates to the Valakar behaviors have been made to further distinguish types, as well as fix issues previously encountered. So this is talking about, you know, the irradiated, the ice Valakars, and potentially sand Valakars, just having more distinctive differences between the different variants. And that will probably range from Apex, Adult, Juvenile. Sentry Valakars will not bite and will instead hide if you get too close. Sentry, I assume that could mean, because what we've noticed in the behaviors, and this is something that I really look forward to doing in the future when, I suppose, Genesis is here and we have the full ecosystem and you know, day-night cycles and behaviors, is observe. Scientifically, observe Valakar, or not just Valakar, but all animals, all fauna, and make reports on them. Their behaviors, their defensive behaviors, their attacking behaviors, their day-to-day behavior, you know, how they travel, what they eat, and so forth. Sentry Valakar, I assume, if we're looking at juveniles as an example, I don't know if it applies to adults and whatnot, or if this is what they're even talking about, but you tend to see them in threes. You've got the front one, and then you've got two side ones. And I assume Sentry would be the ones either side that sort of stand and attack from a distance, and then if you get close to them, they bury and move. I could be wrong, but that's the impression I get from this. Mobile Valakars, I mean, it might not even be that specific one. I guess they've got mobile, they've got Sentry, they've got different archetypes, and each one could be different depending on just which one you run into. Mobile Valakars will move in close to chase you down or reposition. Juvenile Valakars now have a bite attack. They've also ensured that Valakars always have a purpose in being above ground. So they're not going to appear unless they have a reason to, be that attack or whatever. And this will reduce the idle wiggling, which they do tend to do a lot. They just sort of sit there like, you think, are you going to do anything? Plus, they've fixed bugs with some Valakar attacks not doing damage. It's hard to tell when we were interacting with them on stream the other day, because I don't know if, you know, damage was... I mean, they definitely did damage in certain situations. Like Spitz, they had a triple attack where they spat 3 times. Certain attacks from that hit. Like it was maybe 1 or 2 of those Spitz hit, whereas the other one missed, I guess. But that could just mean that they didn't have attack. It was a bug. And then if you get close, they didn't seem to do anything. But now they have a bite, so that might explain that one. Sentry Valakar sounded like a retractable PDC. Could you imagine if there was a bug where you could stick Valakar, juvenile Valakar, in the PDC slots? So as you're flying along, you've got these spitting Valakars. That would be quite funny. Did you have a good weekend, by the way, Shield? As long as Star Citizen story is not as complicated as Kingdom Hearts story, we're good. I don't even know how complicated that was. But there is quite some detail to Star Citizen's story, but I think the intention is to grow it further, you know, once it's released. I went back to the start of your stream as I posted that. I'm currently 12 minutes in the past, listening at 2 and 3 times speed to catch up. Bless you, sweetheart. Are you caught up yet? Yeah, unlimited ammo, short range. If people are trying to board, they might get bitten. That would help. They have purposes. Also, updates to ASOP terminal code to help ships that are currently spawning in transit to a pad to now correctly suppress the claim button. So basically you can't claim it as it's coming up, preventing a false claimable state during delivery. Further updates have also been done to make it so the terminal can now correctly query vehicles stored in hangar inventory, preventing incorrect claim-only status on stored ships. So that's more like saving a potential failure state of someone just clicking a button and it being like, oh, what's going on? So just removing that as a possibility. Additional updates. Grenade HUD markers. Live grenades will now display a warning marker on the HUD. They used to do that, and it went away. Weirdly, though, if you've seen my latest off-grid episode, which I put out last night, the grenades from NPCs were pretty damn accurate. Like, me throwing a grenade wasn't great. Maritime, welcome. You kind of go like that, and it does that typical, it'll sit there for a second before sort of going, but the first one I threw, I ran away, and it was right at my feet. The NPC grenades, they would drop them from you're behind cover, and it would literally come and land right next to you. So I was quite impressed with that. But yeah, now we're getting hit mark or icon UI markers for where the grenades are. It is going to be helpful. For hit markers, hit marker visuals have been updated to thinner markers and flat crosshairs for a cleaner look. This was something that I know a lot of people were complaining about, that they take up a lot of space. We're talking ship weapon hit markers, not FPS. Where, you're firing at a ship. We've got all these different markers for whether you're penetrating the ship, hitting the shields, doing any damage, not doing any damage. There's a lot of different icons, and for a lot of people it was just so big that they were just taking up so much more space, and, more UI covering the screen is not good. So, it should be Wednesday, Maritime. Wednesday, so we're on Monday today, aren't we? A couple of days' time, I reckon we'll see 4.9 drop. Who here is not playing 4.8.3 and waiting for 4.9? Shem, how you doing? I know I'm one of them. I'm not really bothered about doing 4.8.3, but when 4.9 comes along, I'm going to jump in and see how far we can get before things start going completely trash. For the bombing run missions, which I have not even done yet, bombing run missions are now regional and will only appear in the area of space where the mission takes place, rather than being visible system-wide. This sort of stuff is just useful for not having to travel millions of gigameters to get to a mission. And then a ton of bug fixes. Contested zone airlocks in Pyro not cycling correctly. Should be fixed. ATC defaulting landing requests to docking ports for ships that support both hangar and docking. Ships disappearing when landing at or departing from Levski hangars, with the vehicle being stowed incorrectly and freight elevator recovery stalling as a result. We'll come back to that one. Some patrol mission fixes, your Mandy fix. FPS human combat AI surrendering during a fight when failing to immediately select a weapon despite having valid weapons available. So I guess if they run out of ammunition and don't have any weapons available, they'll be like, I give up. But they have a weapon and they're giving up, which is fine. I don't see a problem with that. Outlaw, I mean, it's not intended, so that's the problem. Outlaw legacy armor props, arms, legs, core, appearing as untextured material spheres when dropped or placed in the world. An irradiated Valakar Fang issue. ASOP terminal incorrectly showing a stored ship as claim only instead of showing as a stored in the hangar. That's a good fix. Armor carry props floating far away from the player's hands when picked up. Okay. So, yeah, 4.9 should be, Warblade, welcome, should be going live on Wednesday. So we could potentially see a new build tonight or tomorrow or both, with hopefully a lot more fixes and hopefully some more major fixes as well. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. That's all right, Maritime. Thank you for joining us and watching. You're not playing 4.8 right now because I think the servers are not good waiting for 4.9. Well, yeah, I mean, servers are one thing, isn't it? There's still tons of bugs as well. Ice L7, it's like... when a patch gets into the state that it's in 4.8.3, it's not to say that you're going to run into a lot of issues. Sometimes it'll play flawlessly without an issue at all. But the problem is, all it takes is that one issue to cause a big problem, especially with the off-grid stuff. You know, like if I'm trying to progress and then something goes wrong, and I lose it all, when I could have just waited for the fixes, I guess. Zimba, how you doing? Have you not finished Xenothreat? Get it done. You haven't played since after DefenseCon. Zamton, L7, good day, sir. How are you doing? Back to the present, sweetheart. When I'm in 4.8.3, I'm grinding Satorix because so far gems have persisted. What do you mean? Do you mean between interim patches, like 4.8.1, 4.8.2, and so forth? Right, so the monthly report. Again, this is stuff you probably already know about, but we'll run through and if there's any more light to shed on it, I will do. Not going to bother talking about Valakar because we've spoken about that quite a bit. Although I am intrigued to see what their EMP and laser attack is. Don't like the sound of that. Oh, Starware. I think we mentioned this on Friday, but Starware is now slated by CIG, by Jared. They're targeting to release Starware as its entirety, I guess. Or it's, you know, what it involves in 4.11, which is the end of September. So that's something else to look forward to, and hopefully you would assume it would mean as well suit lockers. You haven't played in a month or so, but that's because my desk has been at... Oh, yeah. Because it's too hot. Yeah, it's been insanely hot. Every time, like this last week has been kind of 26, 27 degrees here in the UK, or where we are. And I know coming into stream, my office is going to get up. It's 26 in the office already, but it's not even a relatively hot day. Noticing more lag in 4.8. It certainly does seem to get worse and worse as we get closer to a release of a new build, which is funny. 4.9, I'm testing scanning. How have you found it then, sweetheart? What can you tell me about scanning in 4.9? We know there's a greater distance. You ping, it's all there to see. You then just look at it and it will tell you the readout of what is there. 900 quality gems seem to still be 900 after the major patch drop. Okay. Last few before the wipe. They are the only thing I think. Interesting. What I don't understand with all the bugs and how an update can affect something so far from what the update was intended to fix. CIG adds new flora, suddenly the tram goes into space. I don't think that's connected. In fact, there was something, you've reminded me, there was something about... the transport system, the transport refactor. Let me just read that. I think they're looking to roll out the majority of that. Oh, not the majority, but more of it in 4.9. Okay, so the funnily enough, we mentioned this recently about, or maybe in a video, about wanting to see more of the transport system come in. So Grimhex is currently the only place that has this updated transport system. You can see that by the elevator information. It's now running the new system, whereas everything else is still running the legacy system. They say the transport system is ready to roll out in other locations and soon for vehicles as well. Now that means elevators. Any ship with an elevator is getting this new transport system elevator in place, which should fix the issues that we see with ship elevators. I can't think of any offhand, because they've been alright for me, but then I'm only really using the clipper. In 4.9, we're expanding the utilization of transport, this new transport system, to Area 18. So it'll be Grimhex and Area 18 in 4.9 that uses this new system. The team working on the transport is busy finalizing the integration of the system for instancing in 4.10. Now, I don't know if that means for 4.10 they're planning to roll out the rest to other locations. It sounds more like there's work that needs to be done for instancing so that the transport system can interact appropriately with it, so that the tech can communicate properly. And then I guess from there we may see other locations like New Babbage, for example, get the transport system, but I don't know. Atty, how you doing? Not specifically. So I do content creation about Star Citizen full-time. It's my full-time job, but not just streaming. YouTube streaming, Patreon, all of my affiliates and partnerships and whatnot, which is why I appreciate you guys using my discount codes. It all contributes to a full-time wage. Streaming alone is not going to pay the way. YouTube, well, it wouldn't cover all the bills, but that's my biggest earner. The rest all help to just top it up so that I can pay the bills. But yeah, streaming alone is one of the lowest earners, to be honest. It's much lower than most other things. Well, much lower than YouTube. It's not as low as some affiliates and things. Castro, how you doing? Welcome. I'm having a great Monday so far. How about you? Yes, there is a bit of cooler wind today, Bold. Thanks for shouting that, mate. But no, it is nice. There is a lot for Bork ships. 600i doors don't open. Medevac bugs out Tier 1, Tier 2 med beds. The Argo raft has broken compass map. When do you think they're going to fix such problems? With engineering updates, when they will finally know how every piece of hardware should look in ships. Ugh. All those individual issues with ships, they're the sort of fixes that come in almost randomly. When you're reading the patch notes, I will often see, when I'm reading the patch, I will often see, this ship has had this fix, and this ship has had this fix, and they're somewhat random. So, these individual issues with, like, the raft, the 600, I have no idea when they're going to fix that. It could be the next patch. It could be, I don't know, a year's time. It's all very much just as and when they come about. Sometimes certain ships get attention, maybe because that's the one they're focusing on or because there's been enough reports about it. Other times it's just, I guess if they're working all right, they don't. But yeah, it's difficult. And with engineering, I have absolutely no idea when they're going to update more to the engineering systems. Like we need wear and degradation and so forth. Yeah, not a clue, I'm afraid. Tram in Space is just a new ship. It's like a roller coaster ride, isn't it? You're supposed to just stay on the rails, but what they don't tell you is it goes off. You're getting pissed. Keep taking out ace pilots and they despawn the body before I can loot them. Anyone heard of any fixes to that one? Quantum, how you doing? I haven't heard of any fixes for that one yet, but that's, I don't see everything, that's for sure. Hot but nice. Yeah, it's not a bad day. What temperature is it for you, Cass? So before you targeted a single rock, held down scan and it would scan that rock. Now when you ping in scan mode, it automatically scans everything in the cluster. Yeah, thank you. Which, you know, saves... Actually, it saves a considerable amount of time per rock. We're not just talking, you know, seconds here. We are talking minutes of flying over, scanning, sometimes scanning taking ages to actually work and activate. And then you scan the next rock, and then you scan the next rock. Like, one cluster could take literal 5 minutes to scan just to get the information of whether or not you want to mine it or not. So, yeah, it certainly speeds that process up and makes it so much more streamlined, much less friction and resistance to wanting to do it. Betlick07, welcome. The coffee machines was a classic. They just broke, and then at point in future they started work. There's so much like that, isn't there? Where something that used to work now doesn't work, and then one day randomly it'll get back to working. It is very much a patch by patch basis. Talking of coffee machines, I want a coffee now. You've kind of twisted my arm. You just don't know what's going to happen, and they can be quite impactful. These changes. You're used to something working, especially when I'm doing my off-grid stuff, and then something comes. It's a bit like when we saw the updates to things like bricked components. That was like a big for off-grid. Not being able to check if a ship is game rules or not, which is a bit old now. And then that came back, thankfully. But that kind of put a hindrance to me doing any scavenging. Is this on 483 then, these ace pilots? What missions specifically, guys? So, Guff and Jeff, anyone that's doing these missions, are there specific missions that you're doing that? Like, are they the same missions that spawn ace pilots? Or are you both doing different ones? Chris, how you doing? Oh, you're more than welcome, sir. Yeah, I'm having a nice summer, thank you. It's actually... Now summer, my daughter, which is confusing, is at the age where I can actually think for myself. We do actually get to enjoy, you don't have to be watching her every second of the day. I can actually enjoy the summertime more. I can enjoy being outside in the garden or going on a walk and whatnot, rather than it being like I cannot take my eyes off you. Ace Pilot's combat login, yeah, I bet that's what's going on. You got your new camping fridge for your car? That sounds cool. What fridge is that? Is that like a 12-volt thing then? I am going camping soon. 25th. So for those of you who don't know, I have a camping YouTube channel. Yeah, 25th to the 26th is when I'm going to be wild camping again. I have a camping YouTube channel where I do wild camps, gear reviews, recipes and stuff. I've got a new camp coming up. A big tent, because someone asked if I had any family tents. I'm just putting it all together, doing the occasional short and whatnot while I'm finding things to use. I can't wait. It's going to be nice. And hopefully I can do more regular camps as well, because really I want to do more regular wild camps, more so than like gear reviews and whatnot, but it just doesn't always work that way, I'm afraid. Oh, it's working for you, is it, Asrinth? Which missions were you doing? So, orange patrols, and you get the investigate ace message for like 5 seconds, but as soon as I fly close to the body, it despawns. Oh, that's annoying. You're doing Foxwell. Is it orange? Have you tried an orange one? Speaking of camping, you caravan for y'all across the pond. I have 8 short weeks in a row from long weekends for camping. Oh, make sure you all sharing your camping trips in my Discord, by the way. Yeah, one thing that I'm just sort of deviating to camping for a second. I mentioned it before, but what I plan to do during the downtime of my camps, when I'm not necessarily filming anything or talking or, cooking or whatever, there's a lot of downtime where you're just sat chilling and just enjoying the environment. I often want to do things, fiddling with things. And a couple of ideas that I've had is bushcraft and whittling. I've done a little bit of bushcraft, you know, the basics of lighting a fire with a fire steel thing, which I can do semi-competently, provided I have the tinder and whatnot. But I would like to get really good at it, and then also learn other bushcraft skills, like making a fire stick and you know, other things, as well as whittling and like crafting or carving little trinkets that I can give to Summer as a, you know, I've been camping. Obviously, she'll come with me at some point, but while I'm out doing these videos, just carving away, and then, you know, learning it as we go. And then over the course of my videos, you will kind of see me get better or worse. And I put out a message asking for advice on what bushcraft knife to go for. And so far, you know, I know, Bear, you suggested... Who was it again? I have an idea of what I want to go for, but I just wanted to know Kaiser Kabox, which looks like a very nice knife. Quite small, but not to say they don't do other knives. But also Moranif. Is it Moranif or Mora? I was looking at them because they do like a sort of a basic survival kit where you have a decent knife, semi-decent, I'm sure, not like the best, a sheath, some items as well to go with it. Kaiser Kabox. Do they do like actual bushcraft knives then? And yeah, I thought it would be kind of cool to do that. Yo, Phantom Killer. Flint, I was in the Cubs. Cartel, welcome. Martel, welcome. Aries, howdy. The coffee machine suddenly working again is analog... I don't even know that word. To something that happened to me recently. The ice maker in my fridge stopped working 2 years ago. I bought a new one, installed it exactly how I was supposed to, but it still didn't work. Then I noticed my fridge wasn't getting as cold as it usually does. So I did a little research and found out this can happen because the internals can freeze up over time. So the fix is to take everything out and shut the fridge off for 24 hours and let it all melt. So we did that, and all of a sudden the ice maker started working again. So fixing the ice maker wasn't the issue. And once I fixed the actual underlying issue, the other thing started working again. I mean, that pretty much sums up game development. Weirdly, doesn't it? Yeah. That's so funny. Yeah, living off the grid in real life. Exactly. Another good maker you could look for a folder is Civivi. Ideally, I would have a fixed blade rather than a folding one. Just for less problems, you know, over time. Oh, that's nice, Castio. Yeah, something... Talking of shadow drops, something I am seeing... Well, we're all seeing more and more is... I mean, we mentioned it earlier on in the stream. There's certain things, especially quality of life updates, going under the radar. This is why the 5-star, who has the YouTube channel where he does like shadow patch drops, really helpful for just all these random things that happen that we don't notice. That's happening a lot. And as much as, you know, they're telling us about hairstyles coming in and other things that for some people might be like, I'm not really bothered. The scanning changes are certainly things that you would expect to be told about, which I don't mind because there are enough of us to find this stuff and tell everyone. Like, we have a really good network of people. E-Hawk, thank you for the 4 years, my friend. Beers and party. We have a network of people who essentially, you know, whenever anything changes or anything happens, I get pinged multiple times from multiple people of, you know, this is happening. Have you seen this? Have you seen this? Most times I've seen it already anyway, but it's great that we have this connection where we can just basically be told about everything going on and share it with everyone. Yeah, just turn it off and on. Usually does it. Make sure it isn't too big and recognizes you are going to cut yourself on the hands from time to time. I have knives. I have a Scandinavian knife with a nice carving on it and a wooden sort of handle, which is a really good quality. I think it's Santorini or something, which I got from an antique centre. It's more of a collectible. I just liked it. And I have a flip knife already that I always take a knife camping. I'm not, like, new to knives or axes and things. It's more just the use of knives within bushcraft. And I would like to get one that is specific to bushcraft because it'll be effective in other areas without having to carry multiple knives. Yeah, I actually have a big, I don't know if you can see it, like a mark there. That was an axe while I was chopping wood. I think I was just tired and I was, you know, doing the stupidness of putting my hand and thinking I had control of it, and it slipped and jabbed me there while we were in Scotland, actually, wild camping at the side of a loch, which we could only get to via a boat that we brought. And my cousins both were like, oh my god, first aid kit. I'm like, it's fine. It just looks worse. You know, it's bleeding, it'll stop and whatnot, but yeah. Oh, whittling. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I haven't done that before, so yeah, I will probably end up with cuts and grazes. Benchmade Leatherman. The Leathermans are really cool. I don't own one, but they look really nifty. Ooh, getting a sweaty head now. Sounds like it's time for another deep dive into mining. I got away from mining and into hauling. Sounds like just learning all the new mechanics ought to keep me entertained for a while. That's something that I actually really enjoy, if I'm inspired anyway, about Star Citizen, is as much as I don't really go too deep into anything like combat mining, hauling trade routes and, you know, things like that, or ship specs and weapon specs, because it is all very much in flux all the time. It's still fun from patch to patch. Now that we play a lot, and as a group, I feel like there's a lot more importance on myself, especially, to know more about, and now that I've got a bit more mind space and you know, time to do so, I actually feel like I love getting into the depths of things again. But again, I'm not like deep, because I don't want to ingrain any stats in my mind that are going to change. But I like it from patch to patch when things change. Like you say, doing a bit of a deep dive and testing it and going in together or communicating on Discord with everyone and amongst everyone to kind of figure out what's happening. I love doing that. And it looks like it's going to continue on that way to 1.0 and you know, somewhat beyond. But with them now getting to the point where they're starting to actually dial in areas to I suppose, more of a finalized state. We're still way off at anything being final. But instead of things being like all the way over here, which there are still some things that are, but they're, you know, this is over here, this is over here. They're now sort of dialing it in where it's more like this, if this analogy makes sense. And then as time goes on, they'll bring it back, you know, they'll bring it in and make it marry up. But it's still good to know that stuff, because we're playing a game that is a live service. A lot of the time it is PvP, and we need to know those sorts of numbers to make sure that we can protect our own. And I think that's a really fun part of Star Citizen. A fire piston literally compresses the kindling into an ember. Put the ember on the bigger pile of kindling and watch it burn. I saw someone the other day, and I think I've seen stuff like this before, but they got some foil and a battery, and they put foil either side of the battery, you know, on the positive and negative, and then touch the foil onto some, what was it? Oh, they used the sharpener, a cheese grater on a bit of wood to make some really fine tinder, and it just set a light to it. Not that I want to be carrying batteries or a cheese grater with me when I go camping. I would love to be able to just, you know, use what I essentially have with me, which I guess a knife even is not something you're necessarily going to have. Never leave home without your Leatherman. Leatherman Wave. Nice. Yeah, steel wool would do that as well, wouldn't it? A lot of the time I just get dryer lint, or I used to. We don't have a dryer now, but we do, like, instead of using what I have right now, which is fire lighters, you know, for our stove at home. I would like to sort of make a fire stick or get some bark and create the fibrous fine tinder and sort of do it that way. You know, at the end of the day, camping on my own, which I do love, I do enjoy camping with others, but camping on my own, you have a lot of downtime in between filming and cooking and after setting up and whatnot. And it just makes sense. I'm someone who wants to use time rather than... As much as I enjoy just sitting around and chilling, it doesn't take long for me to feel like I've had enough chilling and I want to get on with stuff. And a paracord. Battery, steel wool. Never leave home without your cheese grater. Exactly. And now you can get those little miniature ones even better. Yo, Sargon. You can also take a sharp knife and run it down your socks to get dry fibers. I don't doubt it, but I certainly will not be defacing my clothing. I would rather learn to find it as a natural resource, right? But there's, you know, in an emergency situation, there is always stuff to do. I also want to learn more about sharpening a knife with a whetstone. I have a whetstone. I don't know how to do it properly. I've tried, and I wreck my knives, so that's something I really want to do. Oh, I used to love... Sounds stupid, but I'm sure we all do it, or we've all done it. Putting my tongue on the 9-volt batteries. Not just to test if it's working, it's like, ooh, you'll get me a good laser after the patch, and you can try the new scanning and 50% more powerful helix. So they've... Oh yes, they've increased the power of the thingies, haven't they? Hang on, let me just... That was in a recent update as well, wasn't it? For mining lasers. Size 1s and size 2s. Wasn't it? I thought it was only 24% for size 1s and 21% for size 2s. Is it actually about 50%? Yeah, so it says ship... Oh, hang on. So, size 1 and 2s have received increases. Size 1 receives a 24% increase, while size 2, 21%. So what do you mean 50%? Sweet. Tastes a bit like vitamin C. Yo, Rhino, how you doing? Yeah, I will just watch a video on YouTube. I mean, most of this stuff that I learn will probably be YouTube. Before I go out and camp, and then I will practice it and record it and show you my failings and my successes, I suppose. Yeah, about angles. I think that my problem is I don't know the angle, and I just take a generic angle of what someone says you need to sharpen it at, and the knife that I'm using doesn't have that angle. So when I start doing it, it's like I'm actually wrecking the original angle, because the knife that I have doesn't have like a blade as such. It's just smooth all the way through. First Blood Part 2 knife sold for cosplay. Hey, that could be a good one to take. Dry lint is mostly plastic, is it? You've never licked a battery, E-Hawk? Mate, you are missing out. Don't try this at home. Don't, you know, I'm not saying do it, but... You carry cotton balls dipped in Vaseline. Yeah, that's a good one. Sometimes I would coat my my dryer lint in Vaseline because it helps with the burn longer, doesn't it? Take a Sharpie and run it along the edge. Ah, yes. So that when you scrape it down, you actually remove the Sharpie and you can see. Yes, I have seen that. Yeah, go and lick your car. Maybe not your car battery. That might be a bit extreme. You wouldn't do it nowadays. No, I wouldn't. So you can get up to, 40% from crafting, but 40 is almost impossible, or at least not worth the grind. Fair enough. Sometimes if I just pick the fluff out of my belly button, that might work. Coat that in Vaseline. Yeah, I'm saying don't not do it, yeah. But for the purposes of being online, don't try this at home. Or do. It's up to you. Right, next. What we got? If you really want a wild time, go find a Tesla and drag your tongue across it. I mean, I don't own a Tesla, so it would have to be someone else's. It would be a weird question to approach someone with, though. You know. Could you just lift the bonnet to your Tesla, please? Yeah, a whole Bob Ross thing going on. Swearing tuber, how you doing? Is this in 483? Hi, can I lick your Tesla? Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be immediately demonetized for telling people to lick batteries. Do not lick batteries. It's not a good idea. Where has this conversation gone? We're supposed to be doing a monthly report here. Man, I'm getting warm. N12. How you doing? Like it while it's driving, and it'll malfunction. That's true. You can see all the Tesla drivers hanging around together, can't you? They all look very similar. I'm only kidding. Right. Core gameplay team. Did we skip something there? Oh, the weapon art team. They continued through the final phase of production for a new large caliber weapon. Something we are yet to see, which I assume we'll see before Maelstrom, or maybe after, I don't know, is weapons with proper ammo types. You know, like armor piercing, maybe even in, explosive ammo, that kind of stuff, where you can swap out the ammo box and have, you know, a different damage type for that weapon, which would be kind of cool. It also says that they are doing a material polish pass, and they're looking forward to upcoming tech that will require cross-team collaboration. I don't know what that could be. I don't think they're talking about Maelstrom, because, I mean, they might be, because that is technically upcoming tech, I would think, but I don't know. Core gameplay team, for the most part, they've just been fixing as much as they can with, you know, alongside the player experience team, the QA teams. So listening to what we're saying and fixing what's wrong. Deception. How you do? Deception. Disgrace. It's a monthly safety report, yeah. Do you think that this monthly report review will bleed into next month's monthly report? At this rate, it flipping will, won't it? I you know, occasionally I'll get a comment of, this is old. It's like, yeah, I know. But is there as much detail from others as there is with me? I don't know. Maybe there is. Is it the heavy machine gun? I don't think it is. Which bit, though? Do you mean the large caliber weapon? The heavy machine gun doesn't use a high caliber. The heavy machine gun just uses, you know, standard caliber that we have already. Probably, you know, something like a 5.56, I would imagine. Or 7.72. Is it 7.72? 7.62? Okay, we need to move on from the battery leaking. It's going to get me into bother. But maybe if you have an STV, a Steve, you could attempt it. We just need a licking emote. Much of the month was spent from the core gameplay team identifying root causes of issues affecting day-to-day gameplay, like problems with the hangar, freight elevator, quantum travel, star map routing, and vehicles falsely destroyed or flagged for a claim. Which it looks like the vehicles falsely destroyed or flagged is something that is coming in with 4.9. There, you know, the updates we've just read through sounds like that's covering that. But, you know, freight elevators are one of the big ones, especially for haulers. Hangars, obviously, lots of problems with those. For me, quantum travel and star map routing would be a big fix, because it just gets irritating so quickly when you're having to mess around so many times. And if you're in an emergency and, you know, being chased down or whatever, you really want to just get out of there. What's that, fuck? What did you put into Discord? So, yeah, great to see, as we know now, fixing is the priority. But they still worked on things like the super heavy and the machine gun. You know, as much as that's not coming in 4.9, that is going to be a lot of fun in 4.10, where they would be pretty decent for protecting areas or going into like QVs and places like that where you can have someone else carrying a bunch more ammunition for them, following them around, and when they, you know, run out of ammo, throwing a new one in. I don't know how effective they're going to be in terms of hitting the target or suppression, but I suspect against real players, suppression will be helpful. It says they reworked the explosion damage. This is most likely for the super heavy stuff. For item recovery, the team finished the basic version of the individual item claim mode and began working on the full version. This is what we got for the hangars, for the freight elevators, where you can claim little bits here and there. They're working on the more fleshed out one. Yeah, parachute would be cool. Or some form of futuristic parachute would be cool. Jason, good morning. How you doing? Kind of like the Matrix last movie. What's that? What? I'm sorry. I say a lot very quickly. For Starware, it says a new tool validates and repairs players and NPC loadouts, catching the setup errors that would otherwise break compatibility. They also added clothing prerequisites for certain armors, where, you know, like if you're wearing the Novikov, the Caldera, you might need something clothing-wise underneath to be worn first. Raze, good morning, how you doing? Oh yes, yeah, wheeling out ammo to the mechs. Yeah, oh, that was a cool scene. That whole fight with those. Yeah, you would need someone like that as a support character to carry more ammunition for them, because they don't have, you know, they don't actually have a backpack to carry more spare ammo. They just have what's there, and then when they run out, they run out, and then they'll effectively become useless. If your super heavy guy, or you know whoever's wearing that armor, runs out of ammo, they're then useless, and they're a dead weight. They're a problem. So you want to make sure they have enough ammo. Work began on Starware's UI, which is said to took several iterations with user experience design to get right, given the complexity of the equipment rules. We've seen an image of that as well. We don't need to go. We've spoken about that already. I know we've mentioned it, but I'll talk about it again because I am excited for Starcitect. There has been several core systems made for Starcitect, which is said will fundamentally change how designers place locations and sandbox content across planets. Harvestables and loot are context-aware of their surrounding location and environment. For example, instead of manually placing outlaw-specific loot boxes, the system will now detect that a location is outlaw-controlled and select the right tool type automatically. Crafting is undergoing a similar change for Starcitect compatibility, and the mission system required significant rework, so the designers can set up mission locations and contracts at a much larger scale. Plus, freight elevators and security systems are now Starcitect compatible as well. So a lot of stuff going on there with Starcitect. Again, this is coming with... It's part of Genesis. So all this work on Starcitect is about Genesis Planet Tech. It is one of the aspects of that whole Planet Tech version 5 system. And it's going to be nice. They also rewrote the nav points and how they're handled and accessed to ensure that any system reading that data keeps working even when the location is fully streamed out. And this will allow Starcitect locations to appear correctly on the star map, be routed to, show up in quantum travel HUDs, and support local inventories and freight elevators. And there is more about that, about the jobs board, which we'll get to in a minute. It becomes a super heavy liability. Yes, exactly. Do you get all the cinematic videos you have playing in the background? Oh, where? Sorry, Mr. Breachy. That's just from official Star Citizen web, YouTube channel. Some of them may be privated now, and a lot of them are very old. But it's all official Star Citizen stuff. Eventually, I will come up with another background video playlist of org stuff. I know Suley in our org is one of our camera crew for the org, and he records a ton of cool stuff that I use for background images in my videos sometimes. Ideally, it would be essentially him putting it on his YouTube channel, and then I can add that video to a playlist, and then have that as background stuff. But yeah, I know for a lot it might be a bit too rinse repeat with the same stuff, but it works. It does fine. But it's mostly all available on CIG's own official, or Star Citizen's official YouTube channel. For Siege of Orison, they've been fixing critical instancing bugs, including players losing ownership of their instance, causing it to despawn, players being incorrectly moved into someone else's instance. Eviction logic was also added, so a player kicked from a party gets teleported to a safe location outside the instance. Thank you, APOC. Message of the day. Monday, English terminology. We are currently putting together a new 4.9 release candidate 1 build for a potential PTU release later today. So, not releasing today, but Wednesday is still the intended release by the looks of things, and a release candidate tonight, maybe a release candidate 2 tomorrow, live release on Wednesday. Excellent news. And again, we will see what this brings and then maybe Wednesday morning's video will cover any changes. You didn't get your windows in your C2, but I did get windows in my owner's quarters in my assault ironclad. I love the ironclad. I'm so happy in 4.9 we can fly it from that command bridge. No, it's not a press kit. It's the thing with CIG is, and Pedro as well to some degree. They are happy. Like when I tried covering, I think it was Starfield, I was so used to having access to all this stuff where they don't mind you using their videos, their promotional stuff. Pedro is happy for you to use his music, provided you mention, who it is and a link to his stuff. They're quite happy for people to use that. I'm sure, there will be some issues maybe down the line, but yeah, it's all very much just available. Do you have any insight on dynamic server meshing? I remember something coming out from Chris Roberts about no instancing until dynamic. So, yeah, Quasi, I don't know exactly what it all involves, but instancing is in a way a byproduct, tell me if I'm wrong, but a byproduct of the work going into server meshing. And the next step is quasi-dynamic meshing. And I can't remember exactly what that is. It's kind of like in between static and dynamic, where you have a somewhat dynamic mesh, but they're not where it's kind of like we have now, but they will spool up and close down as and when needed, maybe, or someone else explain it, because I have completely forgotten what was said. We will get there. We will get the answer in a second. Sorry if it's already been spoken about, but in 4.9, have they sorted out missiles disappearing? Took the Eclipse out the other day and spent 15 minutes in Quantum. Went to fight. Now, no, because that might actually be to do with, claiming your Eclipse. Yeah. Your missiles, you need to re-equip them. All of my ships don't have missiles because I claim them and I forget about that. That is something I need to unlearn. I'm hoping for a solution to the freight elevators not working at home locations issue. Yeah, if they could get that fixed in for 4.9, that would be a big win. Not been able to access anything large since 4.8. Nightmare. So quasi-dynamic means the servers will switch on and off, but won't change size. Thank you. Yeah, so it's a step to getting to dynamic. It's the next step, is quasi. I know we were kind of like, oh, well, dynamic's next, and then, oh, actually, we're getting quasi first. But it's kind of half dynamic, I guess, where they're doing half of the action that we need, but the rest of that will come later. But it's all, pushing towards getting it dynamic, which is important. I love when they just let you use things so long as you credit correctly. Yeah, it's in everyone's interest, that, right? And it makes life so much easier rather than having to constantly be dodging these copyright claims. Odd thing with the missiles is that sometimes the game remembers you had a specific missile equipped, so when you claim, you can simply restock and have the missiles back. Other times, the game completely forgets, and you have to manually re-equip. Yeah, needs a lot of work, I think, doesn't it? Welcome, Raiden. But, these changes are stuff that we're so used to the way things work that when it changes, you're just like, what's happened? Right, what's next? Where am I? Completely lost of where I was. Yeah, so the devs began building a mission board UI provider component to support local interactable mission boards, first planned for use at the new starcitizen locations. My theory is things like mining outposts, having a mission board with constantly generated mining missions, where it might be this person's, or this location is requesting 10 SEU of Dollarvine, or maybe that's quite a bit too much, 10 SEU of iron, for example, and you've got to go and get it and fulfill the order. And those missions can only be accepted by visiting that location, looking at the jobs board and taking that contract on, rather than it just all being popped up on your MobiGlass, which is cool because it makes location-specific missions. And it could be that you could live in that area in your ship for a while, in the Auxilia, on a Genesis planet, driving into the location, checking the jobs board, taking on a couple of missions, going out, fulfilling those missions, coming back. It's kind of just expanding this, the range of how missions can come about. And I really look forward to this one. And as I mentioned in the last stream, the first time we saw these mission boards in kind of a white box state was in a bounty hunting office, where you would go as a bounty hunter for all of your bounty hunting needs, dropping off captured bounties, buying equipment and items that are specific to that job, finding missions and so forth, interacting with other bounty hunters, maybe working together. Although I'd never trust them. When you was playing with a group of 5 shivs, we all shot 4 missiles at each at our targets, and they couldn't survive the salvo. I don't know why we just don't have group missile wars. Missiles are very satisfying. I mean, APOC will tell you, and he probably finds torpedoes very satisfying, but when they were expensive, it was very much a, let's just hold off on torpedoes unless we really genuinely need to use them, and then it was just like, whoa, that felt good. Now, with them being a lot cheaper, we can just fire away and, it's kind of cool. Progress continued on bringing back physical mission givers, as players can now receive a one-time comm call from a mission giver when they meet certain conditions, as we see with Brecco. She's going to be the first physical mission, well, not the first physical mission giver, but I guess the first physical mission giver using this new system with a full storyline, with supporting cast as well, being Amir and Isaac. Still absolutely no idea what that's going to involve. The core gameplay team closed out some work on ship hangar services feature, and the team added support for missile containers when stacking missiles on the cargo grid. We've seen that. For social and orgs, chat was re-implemented with more robust customizable tabs. A new location-based channel lets players near a planet chat with others in that vicinity, automatically switching channels as they move between areas. And the team also entered the discovery phase for a reworked Friends app. One thing I would like to try when we get into 4.9 on live is trying to use VoIP again. I don't think they've changed anything about, up to 50 people can use it, and then you sort of keep getting kicked out. So I would like to test that and just see if that's the case, because in the PTU it works pretty well, but that's probably because we're in a build with far less people. So yeah, we'll test that. Yeah, so channel tabs. I mean, we already have tabs essentially. We have, you know, ship tabs, private, party, that kind of stuff. Now we have vicinity, which, as it says there, means a whole planet. So you could be around Hurston communicating with people also around Hurston, rather than, you know, everyone in the verse, which is useful, but not massively at the moment. It might be better if we get more localized stuff like, you know, around Lawville, and just communicating with people around Lawville, or even a bar. But really, it's VoIP. We need VoIP. I mean, not to say that, you know, that fixes everything, because a lot of people don't use VoIP, so and they won't want to, even if it was working in its entirety. So having this localized chat would be good as well. I just wish we could pick and choose what we want to see in the all tab. Let me just remove global. Well, in a way you can, where you can, yeah, you can't just delete it. You have to sort of tab between them. But yeah, having a lot more control over that stuff is certainly what they want us to have, and making it, you know, work properly. In the meantime, though, as Zampton has created, Starcoms is the way to go. If you have an org or a group of people that you like to play with, Starcoms is just, it solves that whole VoIP problem. And it does it in a cool way as well, with all the different communications and things. So do check out Starcoms, absolutely. Oh, and I have a code. It's free to use, but there is a paid version which gives you better tools and so forth, which is only paid by the person who is, you know, like the org head needing it. Everyone else can download Starcoms and use it for free with all those benefits. Yes. I think it is the same thing. I mean, I assume it's the same thing. But there you go. There's the website. And yeah, if you do use my code, you get a discount and you get a kickback. But essentially, you can use it for free. So it's definitely worth using. When they eventually roll out VoIP, hopefully there's a place for Starcoms. But for now, it's a game changer for us as an org. Yeah, so a lot more work going into, you know, the social sides of things, which they, you know, we knew they said they would be. Well, they actually said once the transport system is done, they will move on to it. Transport system is still in the works, and as we know, rolling out 4.9, getting Area 18 set up with a transport system. Beyond that, the rest will roll out, I'm sure. But they're already on with the social side of things. Org stuff is being worked on. It's mostly smaller quality of life stuff rather than the big impactful, you know, org social tools and VoIP tools and whatnot. But it's still important stuff that we need. Yo, sloppy. And yeah, we've been needing this, and I suppose we will see it continue to expand from here on out. I need a wee. Let me go wee, and then we'll carry on. Can't wait for all the people who turn on voice in the city and we're all hearing the crap people saying global. I bet when like the game is fully released and things are going well, there will be orgs hanging around locations where new players spawn in, promoting their org as like a, come over here, let me tell you about the SM Borg, and I bet it's going to happen. But, you know, when VoIP is working properly with especially range and, you know, the echo and that kind of like environmental sound, it sounds phenomenal. And when you've got ships with multiple people on board, you will be walking around doing something and hearing these conversations happening at distance and whatnot. It'll just be so nice. For the creature content team, they worked on various improvements to the existing behaviors of the Valakar family. As we know, coming in 4.9. Work on the Apex Sand variant is still underway, with the team refining the gameplay to provide a better experience to players in ships. Oh, I do wonder how far we are from getting that in-game. So far, we know it's Daymar and Monox. You see Valakar, juvenile Valakar on Hurston, but I don't know about the Apex. Gene, thank you so much, my friend, for the 10 months. Oh, heavens up. Yeah, what we could do... are you well, mate? What we could do is we'll stand there. New people will come. I'm not into aggressive or even promoting the org in any way. There is no need, by the way. I'm just saying this as a funny theory. You could stand where new players come along and be like, would you like to check out the Odin and join us? Look up. You could literally point to the Odin in the sky and they would see it as it's just sat there docked. It would be so cool. Oh, Scandalicious. I'm to board the Idris for the second time. What's that? Which Idris? Hey, let me tell you a tale. Sit a while and listen. You have no doubt it'll be cool. In spite of the bugs, CIG is good at cool, but my comment is more aimed at the people exploit the system. Oh, what do you mean? As in, speaking in global when they shouldn't be? Oh, the Xeno Idris. What, you doing it again? Lord and Saviour. Yeah, yo, Dendra. Yeah, who would say no to that? Like, you wanna see this ship? Also, pre-production for a brand new creature family began with exploration around visual identity, silhouettes, combat legibility, and gameplay archetypes going through various rounds of iteration. Let's just take a look at what creatures are intended for 1.0. Not that we're ever going to be able to guess at what we're going to see, but I'd love to hear people's thoughts on what they would want, and I'll tell you which one I would want to see. Oh, the videos, playlists, was it 2024? It was Dressed to Kill, I know that much. There it is. Alright, bear with me, I'll show you in a minute. So, these are all the creatures that CIG want to create for 1.0. And their variants. As you can see here, you've got like, well, the worm, sandworm, different type of sandworm. You've got this freaky looking one. You have a cave sandworm somewhere. That's your Mandy. Which is blind, I believe. Where is it? Ah, there, that's the cave sandworm. And then you've got these creepy looking humanoid creatures with all different types of, you know, variants to them. They will be cool. Yeah, this is all Jay Lee. There is a clip of Jay Lee and Chris together looking at all these different pictures that Jeremiah Lee had put together, who unfortunately is no longer with the company. He left a while ago, but these are all his concept arts images for the different stuff. The Stormwall. There is work going on with the you know, they've updated the model of the storm wall. There was an image actually of the storm wall next to a Perseus, and it was almost twice as long as the Perseus. Sun Devil, how you doing, sir? Welcome. The whip crab, yeah, we haven't seen the creatures that I thought we would see first were the whip crab of Pyro, and the these kind of things, the boreal stalkers. Where's the original one? So that's not the original whip crab. The original whip crab, was it that one? I don't think it was it? I just can't see the others at the moment. So there's the crab and the boreal stalker, which is kind of like a big hunchy monster thing like that. Must be here somewhere. Oh, there's the whip crab. That's the original whip crab. The one that we would see on Pyro, all covered in like ice and shielded and stuff. And then the boreal stalker is kind of like these. These are like variants of the boreal stalker. And that's like, a big Yeti-like creature that was supposed to wander the wastelands of Microtech. So it could be those. Yeah, you too, Sun Devil. Albright, welcome. Stalker at the top. Is that it? That one there? It looks like a variant to me, but I could be completely wrong. Got a Pyro, get crabs, yeah. Global chat is always filled with those. It burns while I PvP, or the yeah. There definitely needs to be a lot more coverage of things like that, where people just being outright dicks. We will be able to completely mute people visually, audibly. You'll be able to find them, ban them from your list of people you want to interact with and so forth. And yeah, they may, but you'll be able to mute them. They will have options to mute. So if everyone stood there, screaming down their mics, you can just see who it is, mute them. At the side of the cow, this one here, I don't think that's the original. With its weird thing going on. Let me look through them all until I can find it. Was it that? No, that's not it. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, maybe for Siege of Orison that have the space whales, but I don't know, because with it being its own instance, you may see them in the air. I don't know. It's not to say that they're even coming anytime soon, really, is it? It's just they just updated the model, so work is clearly going on with it. But maybe it is that. Maybe that's what they're talking about here. Work on pre-production for a brand new creature family began. No, I wouldn't say it's that. Storm walls are way beyond pre-production, and they're not a brand new creature family. It's got to be something from this, though. My hopes is something like this: a sort of a bipedal humanoid with elongated limbs would be creepy as hell. Thank you, Gene. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back in and recording some more. I will wait for 4.9 though, I think. That long horizontal looking thing, top right middle, looks interesting. Looks like it could be another large flying creature like the storm wall. Top right middle. This. Yeah, so this, that. They are, and this storm, maybe that one, but they're storm wall variants, I assume. Like they're another, part of the same family. But this, I think, might be the Castra creature that is bigger, the biggest creature that there is. Castra has the biggest creatures, and I reckon it's going to be that jellyfish thing. So that's your Jungle Valakar, although I think this may have turned into the Yormandi. But I could be wrong. Like, you could be walking around the swamps and you bump into that thing. Yo, Brother Graves, how you doing? Yes, thank you. Warning from Canada. We've got another heat wave coming. Yeah, I've heard. Brilliant. That'll be fun. Yes, encrypted comms will certainly be needed. Yeah, I agree, Zampton. So, one single creature should offer the option of hunting for trophy, for sport, for food, for resources. Protection, a way of, fighting against those poachers and hunters. Science-based content where you're monitoring them, you're watching them, you're gathering information and details about them. That looks... So, I don't know if this is them. To me, this isn't a variant of a Stormwall, right? This is its own creature. Some form of jellyfish-style thing. And I think this is what they're talking about being Castra's the biggest creature there is right now. I don't know when we're going to have pets. That would be so nice, though. It would be so cool to have just a little space creature wandering around on board your ship. Yeah, there should be some native ones, absolutely. I think right now they're just fleshing out the limited amount of fauna that we have to, especially for when Genesis comes along, so that there is more. But even when we get to, like, this... Oh, badly timed. Like, look at that little thing. It doesn't look that cute, to be fair. There is some small pet-like creatures, but none of these look like pets, which tell me... some of them could be, but they don't look like it. They look more wild. Oh, that could be another variant of the Castra thing. But what that tells me is that pets aren't expected for 1.0. Otherwise, we would see the already... that looks kind of cute. We would have seen already the Xi'an pets. Hang on. Xi'an Empire Fauna Starcitizen. There was 3 that we got to name. Let me find an image of those. No, that's a board gamer video. Okay, we'll just use my own thumbnail, maybe. Hang on, bear with me. Just open image. Oh, that's quite big. So we have this creature, which is supposed to be a goat-like herding creature. We have this one, which is a creature that lives in the trees, and basically it's an apex predator that swoops down. A Yao Yao. Is that the cute one, isn't it? Or is that the goat? I think the cute one's the Yao Yao. Yeah, that's an apex predator. And then you've got this, which is a cute one, where they actually rendered it as a more of a physical thing. It looks more like a Pikachu, but this is kind of... It's not that cute. But these are supposed to be creatures that... are they, like, illegally traded? Or not maybe illegally traded, but they were traded and bred to the point of there's too many of them, and they became a real problem. Oh, Sloth Pikachu, yeah. Oh, so it means horse cat, or house cat. Interesting. Triples, yeah. Yeah, pets are definitely a tricky thing. And that's probably why, in this image of what's coming for 1.0, we're not seeing anything that would technically look like a pet, aside from that, and I think that's supposed to be like a wild thing anyway. So to me, it's likely that we're not seeing pets for 1.0. We will see that come later on, which is fine. Yeah, open the airlocks. Get them all out. 3-beard welcome. A little family of them living on your ship. Yeah. Kind of makes me think of Flight of the Navigator, where he had that little science pod of all the different creatures, and you can see them all just living there and feed them. That would be kind of cool. Yeah, pets are a stretch goal. Eventually, we will get them. But I think it's looking like it's likely that 1.0 is not going to be the time that we get them. Have their imprint. Like yeah. People spending a fortune on regenerating pets. I bet they do a storyline about that. You're onto something there, Gene. For the economy team, they evaluated the economic data from 4.8's release and worked to improve some of the underlying systems, such as repair and reclaim. And this, it says, will allow outliers to be more reasonably priced and the system to work more intuitively. I think our little dashboard robot is the... Well, not necessarily. You know, that's just like a dashboard flair. But I will certainly be treating it like a pet. They should make that as a Tamagotchi style thing where you can press a button and feed it. That would be cool. Oh yeah, I would care more about pets than Hurston care about their employees. 100%. Hit me out. I have a great idea for pets. Yeah, lots to do from the economy side of things, but it goes to show there's so much that can be impacted in an economy, and there's so many moving parts. Mission design progressed with Siege of Orison, pushing the boundaries of the tech and working through limitations. It would be great if they could just get it in and working. That would be better. I'm kidding. Battaglia's upcoming missions received polish throughout the month, with improvement plans being made to ensure the devs achieve the experience they want. Work done to the armor for the recent armor rebalance. They've had to change the tags. This might be why in certain leaks we're seeing things about ships now spawning differently in combat missions. It might not be that they're necessarily all different. It might just be because of the work done on the recent armor rebalance. They've had to change the tags that ships use to spawn in combat missions, and now they're balancing. Now they're rebalancing it to make it make sense for the missions we have already. So it's not like it's going to feel too different. The ships might change based on the changes of these armor changes, but yeah. Lots of work from online tech, completing or finishing the full visual experience redesign of Hex 4.0. Bootstrap, been hearing about that for a long time. It's internal dev stuff. But some of it, like Bootstrap, should actually help a lot with things like dealing with crashes and fixing these things, fixing the crashes and stuff quicker, because a lot of what Bootstrap does is allows them to see what causes a crash, giving them much richer data to then action on the issues. So speeding up the investigation period as well. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of Panic Switch. Well, Bootstrap is for crashes, but Panic Switch is their live incident management tool. So automatically handling crash reports. I mean, probably a lot of this is AI stuff, so hopefully it doesn't have too many problems. But automatically handling... saying that, this stuff has been used for a long time anyway, before AI became what it is today. This, using AI to handle this stuff was probably already in use for a lot of games. But it will automatically handle crash reports tied to a... Oh no, this is to do with issues with hardware. Of course, there's been some issues with the Intel hardware, but I don't know. There's a lot going on. Best deep dive ever. A formal optimization effort was created to rebuild the contract generation process in a more efficient way, and global database sharding work, improvements for how player data is distributed across servers at scale was completed. The team also moved deeper into the discovery and design phase for the future crafting and refining system, holding multiple sessions to resolve complex questions around how crafted items interact with player-owned equipment, insurance, and persistent item upgrades. So very important, but I don't know at what point we're going to start seeing this in-game if they're just sort of discussing it as such. But yeah, refining is changing quite a bit, so it'll be good to get more information on refining and how it's going to change, because we need the sort of in-hand refining process more so than the automated refining space station process. Same process, but one is automated, one is, active with hands-on. Motorsports, how you doing? It'll be on Wednesday, and yes, I suspect home location will be reset. I'm hoping so, because I want to spawn at Nick's for all the new goodies. I've always wanted to spawn at Nick's. It's just been so limiting with content and things, and obviously Levski being quite not good for performance. But I'm going to choose Levski rather than a space station, because I love the Grand Barter. Neo, nice to see you, mate. How you doing? Welcome. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with refining, other than it's going to be more hands-on. I guess there may be catalysts that you have to throw into the refining process to get a different outcome. They will probably separate metals, like smelting, versus the purification of other materials, or maybe not, whatever it's called, making alloys and so forth. And yeah, it being more hands-on using ships, and then if you go to a space station, it's not hands-on, it's very much the same stuff. To be fair, New Babbage is probably the best starting point overall if you want access to good content, accessible locations, and so forth. Welcome, Neo. Welcome to Twitch. Making the jump. Something, your spawn location. Every time we get a new patch, you have to choose where your home location is so that all your items get delivered to that. That's all. Essentials, how you doing? Liberator for the IAE or Invictus? I don't know. We know the Galaxy is IAE. When's Invictus? Haven't we had Invictus launch week? That was in May, wasn't it? Are we talking something else? I think you mean something else, don't you? Or am I getting confused? George, how you doing? Welcome. No, inventories won't be wiped. They're not doing another wipe, don't worry. There is something else coming up if it's not Invictus. What am I thinking of? But yeah, I don't know when it's coming. It feels like there's still a bit of work to be done, but it could come before the Galaxy, whatever that event is. I don't know. You moved there in 4.5 and haven't looked back. I'm excited to go there. The only downside is, when it comes to org events, I usually only have time, I don't have time beforehand to fly to where we're going. So it would be a bit awkward. Maybe I'll stick with New Babbage with my main account, and then my other accounts, like my private account, go to there, but I don't know. You've always gone New Babbage. We were New Babbage until the Idris docking issue came in, and then we went to Orison. No, sorry. We were New Babbage, and then New Babbage saw some problems, so we moved to Orison, and then the docking issue came in, so that was useless. Now that they've fixed it, we just want to go back to New Babbage. No, but Invictus was in May. Didn't we already have Invictus launch week? Oh, you mean 2027? Sorry. Okay. No, I think it's going to be a this year thing. I think IAE. But isn't there an event coming up between now and IAE? Yeah, that's true. We could have most of the org events start at Levski. That would be good. The Idris is fine there, isn't it? As of now, the only thing I am looking forward to is base building. I think that will change the whole aspect of the game. For me, Genesis, I am more excited for Genesis than base building. As much as I am very excited for base building, Genesis just takes game space to a whole new level and adds a ton of content, both passive and active. It just looks incredible and is needed before base building can come along anyway. So for me, I am more excited for Genesis right now than I'm even thinking about base building. Let me just go get a can of cider because I'm getting thirsty. Back in a second. Oh, there we are. Two very cold cans of cider. Chilling in the fridge downstairs. There we are. Oh. You're most excited for social tools, Smith. That is very much needed. You're going to new spawn at Area 18 for the new transport stuff. Good idea. Thank you, George. I thought it might be, mate. Thank you for the follow, though. Yeah, it's like... Oh, there's so much to Genesis. Points of interest, flora, fauna, a whole, as Apoc says there, biosphere generation system. You've got ecosystems, seasons potentially, maybe not for drop one, updated weather. Yeah, speeding up the process of even getting systems out to us with planets. Jedi, how you doing? It's not hundreds of planets. It will definitely speed up the rate at which planets come along, but it's a bunch of rule sets that create extremely realistic planets and biomes that look more natural, that have full ecosystems, soil type and quality for farming. There's so much to it. Osgar, how you doing? This foundation or something with guiding new planets is soon, I think. Oh, the Foundation Festival. Maybe I'm just thinking of something else. I don't know what it is, but I thought there was an event between now and IAE, like a big thing. Yeah, Starcitect is one of the bigger aspects of Genesis Planet Tech that, as we've been reading in this monthly report, impact so many things, including missions, traveling. You know, they as much as it might not be applicable to Nix 1, because it's a relatively modern or recently terraformed planet, the idea being is that they could have areas that have content, you know, points of interest across like thousands of points of interest across the planet's surface, where you could travel a few meters, like 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 meters to get to the next point of interest. So Foundation Festival's July. That's what's probably coming on Wednesday. Showdown August, Pirate Week September, Day of the Vara October. I don't know what I'm thinking of. But yeah, I think there is a good chance that the Liberator, thank you, Apoc, the Liberator would be a this year thing. There is still a chance that it won't be, though. I personally think IAE is the likeliest, but unfortunately, Essentials, you might be right with Invictus 2027, but as a possibility there. Is it lagging, guys? It could be Twitch on my internet, maybe. And who knows what else is coming around this October? You know? If there is something like a Squadron event, I am excited to see, provided the PU is in a decent state. I'm really excited to see what happens when Squadron releases. As long as it's good, of course, which I fully expect it to be. What kind of impact is that going to have on the gaming world and, you know, people? I wonder if they have tried or if they are doing procedurally generated planets. Yes, they do. So, they used, back in the day, sit down, let me tell you a story. Back in the day, the original concept for Star Citizen was essentially what Starfield released as, where you know, to land on a planet, you would be taken down on rails to one of 4 or 5 designated landing spots where you could go and walk around. You could go visit a bar to get missions, you could go to shops and so forth. Then in 2015, they decided to start researching procedural generation. And from there, it just grew and grew into this, you know, fully realized planets where you can land anywhere. But of course, that added a lot more to not just the time scale of getting that, you know, 100 planets at launch. That went out the window, of course. But also, how do they populate these places with things? And since then, we've had different Planet Tech versions. We're on Planet Tech version 4 right now. Genesis is Planet Tech version 5, and it is an umbrella term for multiple different technologies like Starcitect that that go into it to create these sort of real, very realistic worlds. With, I mean, I'll put the video in the background. Just pay attention to what's sort of being said. I think it does tell you. This is probably the most repeated thing that I have watched over and over again. Do pay attention to the text on screen about, you know, the quality of the soil and, well, yeah, that and other bits of technology. It is without a doubt going to be a huge leap for Star Citizen. The story time was short. Looking at pixels in the hangar, one of the best times. You hope it doesn't create a land of confusion. What does that mean? The world, the land of confusion. Now, R&D team, they made further progress to improve the look of gas clouds. Support for a density-based LUT to recolor gas clouds was added, and the phase... just a lot of information there. Ground fog work continued on, again, probably for Genesis. When we get Genesis planets, I suspect this work will come in. Ground fog now self-shadows. Cast shadows like the rain volumes and clouds. And also, part of this work includes optimizations for the atmosphere rain marcher. And hopefully by the time... my intention is to get my new PC built before Genesis comes along. So I'm not bottlenecked by anything. I suppose aside from a 5080. As much of a bottleneck that there would be, I'm sure, for Genesis when it first comes. You know, it'll need optimizations. I probably won't be able to crank everything up to maximum with a 5080, but if I'm using a 9950X3D and a 5080 at the same time, I will get a much better result than what I've got right now. So that's my intention before, I guess, 411 is build it, and then I should be able to at least show, you know, provide content that does it justice. Something. Thank you for the follow, by the way. It's less... Yes, so that's something I forgot to mention. When they started researching procedural generation, they didn't want to just go fully 100% procedural. They wanted to have at least, you know, some hands-on with artists to make it look appropriate, some rule sets that make it seem, you know, like humidity and temperature were part of it, where things would technically grow as you would expect them to. With Genesis, Planet Tech version 5, even more so, especially when it comes to flora. It's literally a world simulation, and it's just our playground. That, you know, each world is simulated based on the rule sets, where you would expect to find plants, and they would fight for light and resources and so forth. And that's where you would see this natural. They basically created a simulation of a planet, sped up the timeline by, was it like millions of years, where erosion and so forth would happen, and got to wherever point they are now. And this is kind of, you know, what we're seeing, and what we're going to see is this. Oh, is it about the band? Oh, I don't. Was that one of their songs, Land of Confusion? It's straight over my head. Yeah, so they've essentially just simulated a world, and that's going to be our world to play on. Have they ever said if they will rebuild this? Yes. So it starts with, Genesis starts with Nyx. Nyx 1, Nyx 2, Nyx 3. Nyx 1 is the hero planet. It's, you know, recently terraformed by technology called Genesis in-game. That's the new terraforming company or technology they're using. Nyx 2 is a toxic world where there are points of interest there. People go there. You just need protection to go there. And then Nyx 3 is an ice giant, I believe it was, which is inhospitable. Whether you can land on it, I don't know. But yeah, they're going to start with Nyx this year. And then from there, I don't know if it's going to be Castronex or if they're going to go back into, you know, Microtech, Stanton and Pyro, or both. It really depends on how fast the tech advances, I guess. But yeah, they will go back over the old locations in Stanton and Pyro and update it. And I really hope we no longer fall through planets. And yeah, Sandman says, at the time of investigating and researching, doing R&D into procedural generation, when they kicked it off, No Man's Sky was kind of at its height of releasing, and you know, using procedural generation, you had Elite Dangerous with, what was it, like 400 million planets, or systems. And they didn't want to just, you know, create these assets, throw it into a procedural tool, and then you end up with worlds like on No Man's Sky where it's like nothing makes sense. It's just sort of an algorithmic mix of everything. They want it to make sense. Raga, Johnny, how you doing? 07. Yeah, you can land on Nyx 2. There's stuff there. There's probably outposts and things. It's just toxic and you don't want to be out in it without protection. Yeah, ArcCorp, I mean, I don't... When they go back over the Stanton planets, ArcCorp might get missed initially. It might not, I don't know, but it really introduces a whole different set of challenges, because Genesis, as it stands today, is designed to create natural worlds in a realistic way. You know, they spawn a world, and then over time, over the, you know, millennia, it forms, you know, they speed it up, and it creates a realistic environment in a natural way. It's not designed to create man-made locations. What I suspect they will do, you know, eventually is get the assets that and implement that into a way that Genesis can use it for, you know, the synth world and ArcCorp. Because ArcCorp is technically a real planet, right? It's a genuine planet, but it's just been built on to the point of almost entirely covering the planet with man-made structures. There is still bodies of water, there is still parks and natural locations, but it's essentially all a big factory with loaned out places. So it is a different challenge in itself. And so the rule sets will need to change for that. And they're not at the point of being able to do that. So I don't know, you know, when they go back over Stanton, Pyro, if they will be in a place to do ArcCorp, or whether it's something they'll just, you know, miss off for now. Genesis this, Starware that, quasi-dynamic meshing this. It's all just fancy words being thrown around, and I bet so many people are annoyed at hearing them all. Yeah, exactly, son. Supposed to have oceans, but big bodies of water. Absolutely. I think if Starfield just had smarter loading screens, it wouldn't have offended so many people. All they had to do was extend the grav jump animation. Well, I mean, it would have probably been a benefit, that's for sure, but, you know, the reason why Star Citizen is taking so long and Starfield released as the game it is because this stuff is hard and takes a lot of time and a lot of money. It's like there's, you know, people can deny as much as they want the duration of Star Citizen and whatnot, but if it was easy and already doable, Starfield would have released better than Star Citizen is. But it didn't. Starfield is pretty much exactly what Star Citizen was gonna be by, you know, in its original format, until they were like, we can do better if you want us to do better. Yes, Mr. Mason, how you doing? I think they said a new faction was already setting up bases on Nyx 1, so should be some fresh... Yes. So, already in a lot of the lore that we read, like the loading screens, they're setting the scene for what to expect when Genesis comes along. Because, you know, when they first mentioned this new terraforming tech, which is their way of getting around the whole Nyx 1 is supposed to be an inhabitable... it was a terraforming candidate, it didn't work, so it's abandoned. They wanted to use Genesis tech and Nyx 1 as a test bed, so they had to retcon Nyx 1, and they've done so in the sense that it is using this new terraforming technology called Genesis, which is doing wonders for worlds that were previously uninhabitable. So a lot of the worlds that are not terraformed in the previous lore will be now. Not to say that every planet will. Some will just be uninhabitable completely. But they wanted to... It's a bit like, retconning a bit of Pyro and making certain places breathable, because we don't have a lot of places. So when the new system comes along, they want to give us something we don't already have. And the same is for Nyx 1. But yeah, they've already started laying the foundation in terms of what to expect to see there, saying that, you know, the People's Alliance of Levski need to start moving and taking action and populating and building on this planet's surface. Because if they don't, these gangs that are starting to take over, there won't be any land available. So they're already saying in the 2 years technically that it's taking to terraform Nyx 1, groups are already building there. So that's how they're getting around the whole starcitect. There's going to be points of interest. Things are going to be there and present. Yeah, I mean, I tried Starfield. It just wasn't for me. I was kind of spoiled with Star Citizen. I was kind of caught in a rock and a hard place where you've got a released game, even though it was very buggy to start with Starfield, where it just kind of like, it just felt very surface level in comparison to Star Citizen, but Star Citizen wasn't complete and there's a buggy mess at times. And so it's like, I don't want to play that. I want to play this, but that's finished. This isn't. It's just kind of an awkward situation, but it is what it is. Star Citizen spoiled so many of the games for me anyway. It's just the way it goes. Yo, Lady Space. Will we be getting any dresses anytime soon? I don't know. Yeah, we've definitely been needing, like, traditional, proper female clothing. I'm surprised we haven't yet. But yeah, as Coffee says, Starwear is slated by Jared to be coming in 4.11, so hopefully with that you would see more clothing, right? Yeah, Star Citizen doesn't have competition. As much as people are like, that's the Star Citizen killer. With almost every game, any like remotely similar, it doesn't have competition because doing this takes too long and too much money that most game developers are put off even attempting it. I don't know if Starwear is going to bring more female clothing. I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. Right now, they seem more focused on armor types, with the clothing we already have, aside from, you know, like armored clothing, which doesn't really warrant, you know, female clothes. But they certainly need all types of clothing for every occasion. So one day, but yeah, I don't know when. I guess there's, it's about priorities, really. Yo, Eternal, how you doing? We still getting new monthly bundle tomorrow? Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. Your daughter, your granddaughter can enjoy it, more like. Yo, OPs. Nothing much at the moment. New patch coming tonight. It's a release candidate 1 for 4.9. Because I suspect there is a launch of 4.9 on Wednesday. Anyway, let's jump in and I'll just quickly test this scanning thing. I'm not going to do like a big group thing. If you want to start a party, by all means do so. I am in Levski right now, so we'll do some asteroid mining. But we'll just have a quick test of these scanning things. Alright, let me go and have a wee first. While it's loading. Hiking kilts. Oh, I'd have some hiking kilts. Yeah, we did get a recent bundle. I can't remember. Was it the Carney, you say? Is there another bundle on the way? I don't know. We've had July's bundle, haven't we already? Or was that not the actual bundle that we usually get? Yeah, I've seen. I mean, the Basher looks like the converted Aurora, doesn't it? With its big wings, which could be the one that we're getting in 4.9. Ah, okay, Wonko. How you doing, by the way? Right. Where's my... There it is. OBS. Suddenly disappeared on me for some reason. Stupidly, I chose a space station as in Nix as my spawn point, and then flew to Levski. So I don't actually have any gear here, but I can spawn my basic prospector. Yo, 90s. Will they be able to capture storm walls? I doubt it. Isn't there something about Stormwall gameplay? Where did I read that? Hang on. Did I read something recently about Stormwall barnacle hunting? Oh no. I think it was you, Sandman. Sweetheart, sorry. Who fake leaked something as a joke in Discord. I don't know, Johnny. There's been updates to the Stormwall's models, but I mean that doesn't, specifically mean that they're coming.
Restricted to members of the People's Alliance.
Interesting. Frame rate is taking a nosedive as well. And it's just, oh look, my Aurora is still way out there. Three pit bulls in a trench coat. Did the Stormwalls get a quantum drive? They eat all that space krill, and then they just fart their ways around. Hiranku, do you believe there will be updates and more added to medical gameplay in the near future? Not necessarily in the near future. I don't know when, but there will definitely be updates to medical gameplay. What's going on here? I think the elevator has broken. Yo, frazzled. Let's try that again. From what I saw people saying, that the space whale is going to be in the background piece of Siege. Yeah, I don't know. But it might be. It might be something you see, like you say, in the background, just floating around. Alright, we'll have to call a ship first, I think. It certainly could be a potential way of revealing them. Oh, of course, I only have that. That's the Cutlass Black that you get from that Battaglia mission. Oh yeah, they have the. They certainly advertise the storm walls. You know, not gems. It was barnacles. They're supposed to have barnacles that you can scrape and get off them. I don't know if that's more helping them or if it's to do with, oh, for flip's sake, what's going on here? Or if it's to do with, you know, poaching them in some way. Yeah, alright, let's just get my... oh, maybe I can't get it. I don't know what's happened here. Try and get the Cutlass Black? Maybe we can't check this out then. Any idea what's going on here, guys? Stormwall as a clip art? What do you mean? The thumbnail? Seems like I can't get to my hangar. This must be a hangar issue. Not good, because this is 4.9. You've been waiting for a long time for some medical missions. Would be nice since no one uses beacons. Yeah, it would. It was, you know, the process, like the medical profession itself needs a good update. Let me try going back to menu and finding a different instance, because that one is not working. Like the actual process of how things in, you know, in the medical world works is needed. Updates. The we need missions. We need NPC. Like I guess doing something similar to what they've done with refueling beacons, we could do as well. Something, you know, where basically you have NPCs to go and help. Something I did see a video about. Someone linked it in our someone linked. Is it just US available? Someone linked it in our Discord. Is if you're in a location where NPCs are, and you go down, maybe not by fighting them. I don't know if that works, but if you go down, they will, after some time, revive you. I think this guy, I can't remember what his name was on YouTube, but he tested it in places like these, you know, a bit like Astor's Clearing, these locations like settlements. And he jumped off and eventually, you know, got incapacitated. And then after about 8 or 9 minutes, after just sitting around waiting, not putting out a medical beacon, an NPC came over, spotted him with his torch and went, "Oh, there's a body." And went and looked at at this guy, and then got him back up again. So, if you go down where there's a lot of NPCs, as much as waiting 8 or 9 minutes to get revived is a long time, it's kind of cool. Yeah, this is the first time I've seen any issues with hangars. Yeah, more reasons for medgun use and deeper medical mechanics, more visceral interactions. That's the kind of stuff I'm hoping for. And then, of course, missions, repeatable missions, that kind of stuff. I think the trouble with it being 8 or 9 minutes is people won't know it's going to happen. And they're just, if they don't get a medical beacon, they will just give up and respawn. I think it only took 8 or 9 minutes because that's how long it took the guard with his torch in the dark to find this guy's body. It might be a lot quicker in the daylight. It might be a lot quicker if the person sees you. But if you're out and about in a place where maybe they can't see you, it would take longer, I wonder. I couldn't get to the hangar graves. That's why I was using the ace up, unfortunately. I originally tried to get to the hangar and it wouldn't open the door. We'll try again though. Hopefully we're on a different server. I didn't remember what the server was called though. Oh, I really like Skeleton Crew. Come on. You waited 40 minutes, semi-AFK, and a streamer revived you. Come on, doors. Come on. See if any of these open. Well, that one opens, but that's no good. Go back to customs. Don't think it's going to work. We might have to do a recopy. And then I'll lose my cutlass. I wonder if it's to do with that cutlass. Hopefully not. Yo, Corey, how you doing? Well, you're in the PTU, are you? Trying to get used to the latest changes. What are you doing right now? Yeah, it was a nice, cozy watch. It was just fun. Easy going. Like you say, a good one to show kids. I guess when they get to a certain age. I don't know about right now. Alright, let's just... let me... recopy. We still have a bit of time left. I do wonder if that's to do with that cutlass that I stole. Well, not stole. It belonged to the Marine. I killed him. So, it's not like anyone's coming back for it. Yeah, I never started watching Acolyte. So, and I don't really intend to be fair. Yes, legitimate salvage, exactly. Alright, PTU copied. Oh wait, you're saying 4.10. What? That's not right. You're getting ready to go on if you want to join up and see if being a... Yeah, we can do. I'll see if joining you... I mean, with doing this, it will probably fix it, to be fair. But if not, we can do that. Let's just wait for this email to come through. Special 4.10 access. I'll just quit out of the launcher. Yeah, I'll go to it. I mean, Levski wasn't actually my original choice. I actually spawned at one of the... there it is. The People's Alliance places. So I wonder if that's caused any mishap there. Alright, launching. Set a millennia before the Skywalkers anyway, so who cares? Oh, I am very much looking forward to 4.9 getting here. It's so weird when you've been so into playing and then a patch comes along and just kind of kills that excitement, and then you don't play much at all until, you know, a patch that comes in and fixes things. I'm fine with it because I just kind of move on to doing other stuff that I have been putting off because I've just been playing and playing and playing. But it's such an ebb and flow. All right, let's try this again. But for me, it's not necessarily even the content as much in... Well, it is with Battaglia's stuff, but the other stuff in 4.9, it's not stuff I'm generally overly concerned about. It's just getting the things, the fixes in to make it more playable. Stellar Moonlit. Let's go there. Yeah, exactly, Prisoner. I get more into working out. I get more into doing my camping stuff. There's other stuff that I've got going on, getting the house sorted, getting the garden sorted. I just do whatever I feel like when I feel like it in that sense. It's not that easy because I have a 4-year-old, but you know what I mean. Because I know when Star Citizen's at the point where I'm, you know, wanting to play it, I will just play. Oh, Battlefield. Which Battlefield? Yes, I'm hoping as well. I'm hoping, as much as 4.9 isn't fixing everything, I'm hoping it's fixing enough so that there's more consistency in play and it's not too much of a mess. Battlefield 6? Man, I haven't even tried that. I stopped playing Battlefield because I found it too addictive. and I never got any work done. Yeah, that was good timing. Right, we are in the hangar. Nothing should be here because it's all been reset. With me, and you'll see in a world of pure imagination. I have not completed Kingdom Come 2. I played a lot of it, and I don't know why I stopped. It might have been that Star Citizen just started taking off more and being more playable, and then I just wanted to play that instead. But yeah, I was enjoying it, what I was playing. Alright, let's see what these scanning changes are. I have not tried this yet. It was only today that I heard about it when APOC suggested checking it out. First thing I might do though, when 4.9 does drop, is go get that cutlass. Bigger drop than I expected. Oh no! Sam Neill passed away! When did he pass away? I didn't know that. Oh man, that's sad. In honor of Sam Neill. Early this morning. Wow. Man, that is a big shame. 50-hour games take you 250 hours plus. Same. Same, because I never do the main quest. I just deviate and go do all sorts of other stuff.
Hello. How can we help you today?
You can show me the money. Or the gems. A lot of snozberries, yeah.
Launch sequence complete. Shields off. Landing gear up.
So I don't think we need to go far to test this. Seeing anything yet? Oh, there's something. Oh, that was quick though. That was a sentry. So usually you would have to sort of scan, I think, to check that. It's good. I'm also seeing a signature readout there. 4285. Is that this? Is that the signature readout of a sentry? Do I need to be in mining mode to
Fracturing mode on.
see this stuff?
Mining mode on.
Doesn't look like it. Could be always mining a armistice zone. Or is that new? They do pew pew in herds. Oh, we're out of range there. Let's just go within the 20-kilometer range. Yeah, there's been quite a lot of changes to scanning and mining. Just trying to understand them thoroughly. That one, maybe I need to be a little closer to them. There's one. Let's try that because it's a different one.
Fracturing mode on. Fracturing mode on. Mining mode on.
I think if I just travel towards it, it should tell me. It's not telling me anything. Raw rice. Isn't it supposed to pop up with, like, exactly what it is?
Mining mode off.
Am I doing something wrong here? Yeah, I'm the same with mining. I really enjoy mining. I love the depth, but I don't do it over and over again. I do get bored of it. But then it's the same with salvaging. I'll do it for a while. I really, really crave doing it, and then I'll do it, and then after a few hours I'll get bored and I'll go do something else. So narrow the scan field. Oh, okay. What's the keybind for that? I don't know if I have a... Let me try binding that to something else. Is it just scroll wheel? Oh yeah. Taurite. That's a bit further away. Oh no, it's doing it. Just kind of get away from this asteroid in front of me, maybe. 11%. Is it going to find it? Maybe I need to go a bit closer. Bexalite. Very nice. Now if I go into this, that takes away the scanner, doesn't it? So it won't tell me. I need to remain in scan mode.
Mining mode off.
And I think 16 kilometers is maybe too far. Debris? Debris? Oh no, it's finding it at 16. I think up to 20. So aluminium. Wingnut, thank you so much for the subscription, my friend. How you doing there? Silent, welcome by the way. Morning, Taron. So yeah, very quick, very easy. You just look for the anomaly. Let's just see. Let's go up to like... Oh, 45. 45 seems to do it. That's not telling me yet. Ah, there's a 19. Let's try 22%, see if that helps. Okay, so it's telling me that at 19.3 kilometers away. I think they said up to 20 kilometers is how it will, is the range, but it's, oh, it's starting to detect them, look. There you go. Let's just pull that back to 45 again. I still haven't got this 17, but I reckon it'll find it. Okay, it's not wanting to. Let's try 22. Probably getting confused with the ice, maybe. Narrow it a bit further. Try that. It's moving a little bit. Okay, so yeah, 11% helped me get to that one. So I guess the further away it is, the more narrow the cone needs to be. And now it's out of sight again. But obviously the more accurate you need to be with your line of sight, I guess. So you want to do an initial pulse at maximum... Yeah, at maximum width. Otherwise you're pulsing in a... I assume this pulse is directly in front of me. Although it is spreading it around. Does the pulse work better at 90 where it does a wider pulse? Yeah, there you go, look. Now, can it see what that is? Looks like I'll have to bind something more. Aluminium. That one is... unknown. 19.9. Let's try 11%. There it is, finding it now. Taurite. Very good. Oh, it does then, does it? I never noticed that with these. So if I got a 1%, or 2% and do a pulse, the pulse seems to go out 360. But it doesn't gather all this information unless you are wider, as you say. So there's one up there, practically on a, 45 degree from here, or 90 degree angle, sorry. Which it isn't picking up at 2%. Oh no, it is. Interesting. I don't know if it needs that. Let's fly to a different place and see how this works. Yo, GN, like, how you doing? Yeah, hopefully the issue with losing your resources in your mining bags will be fixed. Alex, how you doing? You find yourself loading into the game to play with your friends, and we never know what to do exactly. Any recommendations? Yeah, my advice, I mean, what is it you enjoy doing? Is it combat, mining, industrial, hauling? I would certainly say wait for 4.9, because there's just a lot of issues with 4.8.3 that when you do finally decide what to do, it might not be working too well. So 2%, we're not finding anything. Maybe it's too narrow. Let's pull that back. 5%. $20, 11%. Still nothing. 22%. I will certainly need to bind something on my sticks for that rather than using my mouse. 45%. That might pick something up. He did it. It's reading at what's that? I recognize that signature. 10,800. Is it iron? I think it might be iron. I don't know. So it's scanning, which means it must be somewhere in the vicinity. Now let's go 90%. Oh. Still nothing. Oh, there's something. Which could have been what I was detecting. Oh no, 15,000. No, I am thinking of degrees. I'm just seeing if it is genuinely pinging out in the, the angle that I am sourcing it in, or pointing it in. If it is making a genuine difference. It was a difficult test, that one, because nothing was really showing up here. There we go, yeah, it's definitely making a difference, isn't it? Yeah, debris was a strong signal there. Yeah, let us know what you guys like to do, Alex, and we can come up with some suggestions. There we are. Let's see what that is. Bexalite. Yeah, there's, you know, even if the scanning system is advancing, UI needs to stay up with it and so forth. What you have to remember is the mining arc is set up the same as the weapons arc. Yeah, more of a cone, absolutely. So yeah, I just need to bind something where I can quickly open up to 90% and then narrow it down on my sticks to something less quite barren out here by the looks of things. Now there's something, let's see what that is. Bit too much, but it's fine. Backslide again. Yeah, I like that. We'll head back. There's no, it's just a bit of testing. But definitely a huge difference, because before, you would literally have to travel to each of those pings in order to scan the rock to see whether it's the mineable you're looking for, versus, oh wait. Is that Levski there? Oh no, sorry, this is the place I need to be. Yeah, versus just something you don't need. Like, you need to go and find iron, but the only way you can find iron is by pinging everything and then going and checking that out and seeing if it is what you're looking for. So it'll save so much time, making mining so much more efficient, which means the turnaround of getting what you want much more efficient. And it's just less frustrating. It's a bit of a pain point, isn't it, when you're constantly having to go and do that stuff. In fact, let me just try and head. I'm assuming these QV station, breaker station markers, they're just way markers, but the actual physical stations aren't there. Well, no. Oh, I'm in SEM mode, that's why. Try and find a close breaker station. 56, that's the closest we've seen. 30, there we go. So, QV breaker station 204. Oh, the markers are bugged, are they? What do you mean? Yeah, being able to tell by, like, you can, so you need to go and mine something, you're looking for something specific, you send out a ping, you narrow that pit, you know, you focus the scanner or the radar, you see exactly what it is. You don't have to move, expend fuel or time, as much time traveling to the location. You can see immediately what it is. Not to say that when you get there it's going to be good enough for what you want, but it still reduces the amount of time massively. Anybody know by chance what the Epoch Dust Devil armor will be on sale in the play? When? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, Alex, sometimes it's just stepping foot into the verse, and my advice for anyone who's you know, they jump in and they're a bit like, I don't know what to do and I'll log out. My advice is just take on a mission and just go do it. Or go visit a Hathor site. That's always a bit of a, you know, gets your heart going. Yeah, you still got to get to it, to scan it, to make sure that it's got the quality you need, but you don't have to travel to it just to see what the rock contains. The thing with the QV marker is a known issue. They are actually there, but it will get changed. Now this I really like. Having access to and these are the break stations without the rocks, I'm assuming, without the actual asteroids to break, which is great because as much as, you know, you're not going to fire on the rock and go and mine all that stuff. I love these places, especially for just looting, and I'd love to just stealth through it with my off-grid. One day with Ari, I'm going to come here and I'm going to see what I can loot, and I think I will. The clothing that these what do they call the breaker station people in the gang inside? That's the style that I want Ari to wear. The mission description, what's that for? Is that actually the Marine then? Because the Marine they don't wear the same armor as these people. The Marine are the ones that you know, with like the death helmets and things. Whereas these guys in breaker stations, they have a completely different style. The claw salamanders, that's it, thank you. The slaw salamanders. Just gotta wait for it to pop in, I guess. But yeah, I don't think the stations are here, are they? As you say, it's bugged. But I'm hoping for 4.9's release that the station will be in and we'll be able to have them as, you know, places to loot. I've got to collect my coffee cups, you know. Yeah, I know you can take missions to get to those stations, but as part of my off-grid character, I don't tend to do missions much. Oh, what we got over here? What on earth is happening? Yeah, I don't like to do missions, so I like to be able to access these kinds of cool locations like Hathor sites without needing to take a mission on. So I can just enter, you know, quietly and stealth around. Quite a few ships around here. Oh no. Robot shooting. Doesn't look like anyone is in this. Oh man, yeah, against Argentina. I mean, it was the likeliest outcome, but flip. I was hoping Switzerland would kind of sneak, you know, like just get lucky and get past Argentina, but to be fair, the fact that we've made it this far is incredible, and I am, you know, even if we lose this next match, being in the top 4 is definitely an achievement. They've done really well. Let's go and explore this and see what we can find. It looks like someone was trying to salvage it, maybe. But there doesn't seem to be anyone here now. Oh, they're going to be, the markers are going to be gone in 4.9. Oh, that's a shame. Are these the markers then? Are these the QV stations that are part of those missions then? And they've accidentally revealed them. Where are the docking collar doors? Are they at the back? Oh, there's one. That's it's very close to that ramp. Okay, we're all right. Get them back for the Falklands. Come on, that was so long ago. See you later, Gene. Have a good one, mate. What's that down there? Part of a ship by the looks of things. Hello? I hope one of the creatures we see sooner or later are ones that just suddenly get on. It's very hot in here. There must be a fire. Are ones that get on board ships. You're hoping Norway would beat us. I couldn't believe it when they subbed Haaland. I was like, what's going on there? But I think he was injured or had something wrong, didn't he? There must be a fire here. Whatever. Yeah. I mean, they have to with someone like Haaland. He's such a threat. All these torpedoes as well. Alright, let's go check out that ironclad instead. I'm just messing around now. There's no testing anymore. Oh yeah, that Norway goal was a fluke. We have been lucky, to be fair, with who we've been pitched against. The way we've obviously shown a lot of skill, and you know you can't really take anything away from the players and how hard they work. But I guess a big part of any sport is luck and just the ball literally falling for you in the right way. But yeah, that first Norway goal, it was like, don't let that be the winner. Shut. It's got no gravity here either, weirdly. Can't get in. Do you know, I haven't actually flown my ironclad from this operations room yet. Assuming it's there. Looks all locked down, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think there's much more I want to test right now anyway, so I am... Oh, hang on. Yeah, no, sure. Well, I'm almost getting in. Used to be an old technique of getting in. Nah, I'm good. I'll get a coffee and we'll just chill out and chat for the last 15. But no, those scanning updates are definitely a vast improvement on how it was. And yeah, anyone who is a miner is going to be very happy about that, I'm sure, because it cuts down the time drastically. But we're not far off from 4.9 now. Only a couple more days and we can get back to playing. Let me just have a piddle. Chill out. what's everyone planning to do then when 4.9 drops, if you are planning to get back into it? For me, I think it'll be negotiating with Deacon to start spawning the Revenant at Levski. And just maybe grinding a bit of Recco's missions, I think. Getting that free cutlass. Anyone in the org heard from Nexus recently? Not heard from him in a few days. Hope everything's alright. But I'll be interested to see what tonight's build as the RC1 brings. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I see. Oh, man. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, what's the thoughts on spawning at Levski, Deacon? Is it something you're up for? I do feel like Nyx is... Like we've always said that when Genesis comes along, Nyx is where we're gonna start, right? That's gonna be our new sort of headquarters for the time being, while we explore all the planets. Or Levski. Technically, Levski would be, but maybe one of the People's Alliance stations would be a better option. Yeah, it's quite interesting seeing these decisions get overthrown, and you know, both Norway and England had a lot of things altered due to VAR and whatnot. But yeah, I think I'm going to start at Levski, maybe, or a People's Alliance. So are you thinking New Babbage then, Deacon, for, what do you mean you'll still have to fly to? Are you thinking of staying at New Babbage? What do you mean? Is that what happened, Mag? But I do look forward to just... As part of the role player in me, I love the idea of Nyx becoming my home. With Levski being a place that I have always adored, especially when it comes to the Grand Barter and all the stuff, like all the little cool knickknacks they offer there. Maybe I'll start there with my private account and just sort of go from there with that one, and keep New Babbage as my other account. Did it really, Mag? Oh, I didn't know that. Can't load any vehicles. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a bit restrictive, isn't it, there? Don't know why that was hidden by auto mod. But yeah, that's where I'm going to start. I'm going to grind some of Recco's missions. Maybe get myself that free cutlass and all the... In fact, I can probably start uploading that video soon. And all the gear that comes in with it. It is a downside that we don't have a physical planet, though. Oh, did you use the T word? I see. Yeah, not having the physical planets in Nyx is why I haven't started there, because I do like having terra firma. But if 311 is where it's going to be, we're only talking 2-3 months, really. If that's what's the case, you know, if that's the case. You've got 4.9 this month, 4.10 August, 4.11 September. I do hope Genesis is 4.11. I really hope we get to see more about it as well, actually, before it does release. Oh, there's a, you know, have you seen the mission from Recco where you go and you assault that, caterpillar that's been taken by the Moraine? Because there's like a cutlass that's outside of it, an NPC cutlass that I think is supposed to indicate that the Moraine took this ship to then fight. Sorry, 411. To then board this caterpillar. You can take that cutlass and store it in your own hangar and use it. With all the little loot boxes it has. and all those weapons on the racks, but unfortunately right now you can't reuse the racks. And you can't rearm, repair, and refuel it unless you go through the process of a refueling beacon and fixing things with the SRT canisters and swapping weapons to rearm. Captain Carrot, how do you... So it's essentially a free, modified cutlass to some degree. The loadout is exactly the same as a base cutlass, but you do get those weapon racks in the back, which are great but useless if you can't put stuff back on them. You need to wait until there is easily accessible loot in Nyx. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, in fact. When I saw those QV markers, I thought that would be a good reason to go there, because going to those QV... I mean, obviously I can just do the investigation mission and unlock them, which I probably will do with my private account, but not for my main, not for my off-grid stuff. It's not quite there yet. When 311 does come, saying that, when Genesis comes, it doesn't have to be 411, then I will certainly make Nyx my permanent homestead. Whatever the station is that's closest to Nyx 1, that will be my spawn point, unless there's somewhere planetside to spawn on, which there may be, you know. They may have some form of, like, township there. Wouldn't that be cool? It doesn't have to be a huge city like Lawville or wherever, New Babbage, which wouldn't make sense anyway, that they would have constructed that, but kind of like a western, like, mining town where you've got certain commodities and shops. Yeah, exactly. Not necessarily a city. There hasn't been enough time 90s for a city to be created, but at least settlements or townships that are, you know, slowly growing, and we see that happen over time. That would be cool. I would absolutely pick one of those as my places to live, and then just venture out, and hopefully when Genesis does come, the auxiliary will be there, and we can drive around in this, I suppose, camper van. Man, that would be the best. But between now and then, with the way things are, with this priority of getting the game fixed, I truly hope that by the time Genesis does come, the PU is in a place where it works, you know? So lore-wise, it got retconned, Prisoner. Technically, in fact, it hasn't necessarily got retconned. Things have just evolved. So originally, Nyx 1 was not a candidate for terraforming. It was no point. It was a dead world, essentially. Then this new technology, this new terraforming technology, came around, called Genesis, which, with advancements in tech, about 2 years. I think it was stated in one of the loading screens that it's been about 2 years since it's been terraformed, which, you know, 900 years in the future could be quick enough to build a city, but I wouldn't have thought we would see one to the scale of something like New Babbage. You could see someone park in an ironclad and immediately start using it as the center of a town as they cannibalize it for... Yeah, there is... I mean, Spider, the system of Spider... The main landing area of Spider is basically a junkyard of shipwrecks that have been cannibalized and joined together to create a sort of network of... I think they call it Spider because of the spider webs. Wasn't Spider... I think I'm thinking of the right place, but wasn't Spider a place where the UEE would dump their old vessels, their, you know, out-of-action vessels now, as kind of like a fly-tipping location, and then over time, you know, people, mostly like ne'er-do-wells as such, have kind of come together and built it into its own little settlement. Am I thinking of the right place? I mean, of course, there could be some retconning going there if it does have planets and potentially terraformable, but at that point, by the time we do get Spider, if there are planets there, that's not to say that they will all be terraformed. Missions to set primary residence to any town station with a regen facility would be great. Do something for the local community and gain citizenship. Well, I mean, you won't be gaining, like, citizenship as such, because obviously that is the grand UEE thing. But yeah, you could get like reputation with a certain community and then get access to spawning in that, like regenerating in that location, or becoming as you say, a citizen of that settlement. That would be cool. I would like that idea. Spider's Lagrange point. Oh, do you mean, yeah, near a planet, but a non... Is it a terraformed planet? Or I didn't think... From what I understand, Spider doesn't have anything. Anyway, it's time for me to go. We haven't got This Week in Star Citizen yet, have we? So that will tell us more about what's happening. 4.9 should be releasing on Wednesday. It may bring... Was it the Foundation Festival? That's coming up next. It'll probably bring that. Maybe a free fly as well, if that's the case. If it's the Foundation Festival, it certainly will. Between now and then, we have a new build tonight for the PTU, which is an RC1. It's a release candidate 1. I will check it out and maybe do a video on it soon. Tonight's video is how to get this free cutlass in 4.9, the caveats that come with that, the limitations. Other than that, though, it would be nice from 4.9 onwards to not have, this sort of disruption, because since 4.01, as an org, there's been very few disruptions to our org play, right? And it's been so much fun where we have been playing together at scale. And I think when Nix came, was that 4.5? When Nix came, or maybe it was 4.4, there was that audio bug that basically stopped us all from playing, and we had to take a hiatus because every time we tried to do anything as a group, we would get the audio bug and everything would just destroy itself and we would end up having a bad time. Between that and 4.8, it's pretty much been just constant jumping in, playing consistently without too many big issues. And then, of course, 4.8 came along and things just started degrading, and we're back to a place now where it's like people aren't really playing. We don't want to risk anything. It's a bit frustrating, so we're on a hiatus again. And I'm hoping that 4.9 is the start of getting back in and playing. Again, it's not going to fix everything, but if it has fixed a bunch of the stuff that's, causing headaches, then it should be, really. And then 4.10 bringing the rest of what 4.9 was to be, with more bug fixes. And then 4.11... Oh, it's going to start getting exciting, I feel. Anyway, let me pass it on to somebody else. Thank you all so much for hanging around. Yeah, there was... Well, the bug was... And it started in Levski, and then it seemed to spread like a virus through the other systems, where it would kind of go... Like, your audio would suddenly stop, then it would crackle and, like, drop in and out, and then you would just crash. And, we had the Idris with 20 of us on, and we were all suffering from just crashing and coming back in and crashing. And it was probably the same thing that you and your brother were suffering from. And we had a big time where we just couldn't play. And it's such a shame, because now that we're playing so much more continuously, I really feel that that sense of, wanting to play, but then knowing it's going to be an absolute pain. Yeah, it's better now. Yeah, you too, Deception. Right, I'm going to raid Detox. Do enjoy Detox. It's not Detox TV anymore, is it? Hang on. No, good. Thought I might have been passing it on to someone else there. I'll be back on Wednesday, and unfortunately, it's not something we can't plan an event for Wednesday, because we don't know when it's going to drop. We don't know when the patch is going to drop, so it's going to be more like a maybe a chat and chill, getting prepared and planned for. Or maybe we could try something. I don't know, but we don't know when the patch is dropping, so we'll just have to play it by ear. Wait, are you guys seeing anything? Oh, it's the A90 jump video, that's why. I will see you all on Wednesday regardless. Have a great evening. Have a great Tuesday. And I expect you all here bright and early, Wednesday afternoon, coffees in hand, ready to chat, maybe play, and get excited for 4.9. Much love, enjoy Detox's stream, and bye-bye.